There's a kind of happiness that goes beyond what most of us think about when we hear the word. It's not the kind that flickers like a flame that's constantly on the verge of being blown out. It's deeper than the thrill of a promotion, the rush of buying something new, or even the excitement of a dream come true. This happiness doesn't rely on anything that can be lost, and it doesn't fade with time or circumstance. It's a state of mind, a way of seeing life, and a strength that can hold us steady no matter what storms come our way. This happiness is grounded, resilient, and unshakable. And, as the ancient Stoics understood, it's something anyone can cultivate. The wisdom of Stoicism, timeless yet perfectly suited to the struggles of modern life, offers us a pathway to this kind of lasting joy. Stoics didn't see happiness as something that happens to us. They saw it as something we build within ourselves. To them, happiness wasn't about accumulating pleasure or avoiding pain. It was about developing a sense of inner contentment that couldn't be stolen by the highs or lows of life. In our world, we're encouraged to seek happiness in external things: a bigger house, a better job, more exciting experiences. But the Stoics would say this approach to happiness is like chasing shadows. As soon as we grab onto one desire, another takes its place. There's always something more to reach for, something we think will finally bring us the peace we're looking for. Yet the Stoics saw the fallacy in this way of thinking. To them, true happiness wasn't dependent on what we have, but on who we are. It's about finding joy in the simplest aspects of life: a quiet mind, a sense of purpose, and a heart at peace with the present. Now, you might be thinking, but life is hard. How can we possibly be happy when things are challenging, uncertain, or downright painful? The Stoics would agree that life is full of difficulties. In fact, they believed that hardship was an essential part of growth. They taught that real happiness isn't the absence of challenges, but the ability to meet those challenges with courage and wisdom. Stoicism encourages us to shift our focus away from trying to control everything that happens around us and toward mastering our responses. When we stop depending on circumstances to feel happy, we become free. We're no longer pulled by every whim of life's changes. Instead, we develop a calm that stays with us, grounded in principles and values that we hold dear. At its core, Stoicism teaches us that happiness comes from accepting life as it is and finding peace in that acceptance. This doesn't mean resigning ourselves to whatever comes or being passive. The Stoics were warriors, philosophers, and leaders who lived fully, but they didn't waste their energy on what they couldn't control. They understood that some things are beyond our reach, and it's this understanding that allows us to let go of needless worries and find joy in what we can change. There's a liberating truth that Stoicism offers us. You don't have to keep chasing happiness. You don't have to live in a constant cycle of seeking, striving, and wondering if you're missing out on something better. The Stoics teach us that happiness is available right now, in each moment, if we're willing to see it. This kind of happiness is quiet, yet powerful. It's a contentment that doesn't need flashy experiences or constant validation. It's a joy that stands strong through life's storms and holds steady even in solitude. One of the most inspiring aspects of Stoic wisdom is its simplicity. Stoics didn't think happiness required complicated philosophies or endless self-improvement quests. They taught that true happiness comes from a few basic principles: living with integrity, accepting what cannot be changed, nurturing gratitude, and being fully present in each moment. These aren't just ideas, they're practices that transform our daily lives. Through these practices, we cultivate a mindset that doesn't crumble under pressure or retreat in fear. Instead, we stand firm, able to see beauty in simplicity and contentment in the everyday. The Stoic approach to happiness isn't a quick fix. And it doesn't promise an easy life. It's a process, a journey of strengthening the mind and heart to withstand whatever life brings. But for those who commit to this path, the rewards are profound. Imagine being able to face setbacks without feeling defeated, to let go of envy and embrace a mindset of gratitude, to enjoy moments of quiet without the need for constant stimulation. This is what the Stoics offer, not a life free from hardship, but a life rich in resilience and full of meaning. In Stoicism, happiness is tied to purpose. Happiness isn't something we passively receive, it's something we cultivate by living in line with our values. A Stoic life is one where actions align with principles, where we act not out of fear or impulse, but from a place of wisdom and self-control. This kind of happiness isn't shaken by the opinions of others or by fleeting desires. It's a happiness rooted in the knowledge that we're doing our best with what we have, that we're contributing to something larger than ourselves, and that we're living in harmony with the natural flow of life. As we dive into these Stoic teachings, remember that the journey to real happiness is gradual. Each principle builds upon the last, forming a foundation of resilience, clarity, and inner peace. Over time, these practices become a part of us, guiding our choices and strengthening our hearts against the inevitable ups and downs of life. This is a path of empowerment, where happiness is no longer dependent on anything outside ourselves, but is something we carry within. By embracing the Stoic way, we let go of the weight of expectation and the endless chase for more. We discover that happiness isn't a destination, it's a way of being, a choice we make in each moment. It's not found in the pursuit of perfect circumstances, but in the acceptance of imperfection. And this kind of happiness, quiet, steady, and resilient, is something that can be cultivated no matter our age or situation. So, as you step into these teachings, be prepared for a perspective shift. Be ready to question what you've been told about happiness and to open your heart to a new understanding. Stoicism doesn't promise a life without challenges, but it does promise a way to navigate those challenges with grace. This philosophy doesn't ask us to reject pleasure or joy. It simply teaches us to find a deeper source of happiness that doesn't depend on them. It's a happiness that frees us from the ups and downs of circumstance, and it's a happiness that endures. If you're ready for this journey, know that what lies ahead isn't just a guide to feeling good. It's a guide to becoming someone who can face life with courage, who can accept setbacks without losing hope, and who can find joy in simplicity. This path may not be easy, but it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, what we all seek isn't the thrill of fleeting moments, but the peace of a mind at ease and a heart that knows true contentment. This is the happiness that Stoicism offers, not just a happiness for today, but a happiness that lasts a lifetime. At the heart of every human life is the search for happiness, but the question many people face is where to find it. In a world full of promises that more possessions, more status, or more experiences will finally bring lasting joy, it's easy to get lost. Yet deep down, many come to realize that these sources of happiness are fleeting, momentary at best. Even the most thrilling experience or greatest achievement fades over time. What if, instead of looking outward for happiness, we looked inward, embracing a kind of fulfillment that doesn't waver with life's ups and downs? This approach, championed by the Stoics, is a powerful way to move beyond the cycle of fleeting pleasures and into something deeper and far more resilient. True fulfillment is a steady, quiet joy that doesn't disappear with changes in fortune. It's rooted not in things that can be taken away or bought, but in values, purpose, and peace within oneself. This approach to happiness allows for a life that's more balanced, less driven by external forces, and deeply rewarding. Embracing fulfillment over fleeting joy involves a shift in perspective, where the focus is less on acquiring and more on being, less on stimulation and more on contentment. It invites us to experience a grounded kind of happiness that thrives, not because life is always smooth, but because we find peace within ourselves, regardless of circumstances. This journey toward fulfillment starts with the practice of acceptance. Acceptance in this context doesn't mean resignation or defeat. Instead, it's an acknowledgement that certain things are beyond our control and our happiness cannot be tied to them. The Stoics remind us that a great deal of human suffering comes from resisting what we cannot change, a kind of internal battle against reality. For instance, if we constantly wish for others to act differently, for past mistakes to be undone, or for life to conform to our ideals, we set ourselves up for frustration. Accepting the limits of our control frees us from this struggle, allowing us to channel our energy toward what truly matters. With this acceptance, we begin to shift our attention away from the things we lack and toward the treasures within reach. Fulfillment is about appreciating what's already present rather than chasing what's missing. Our society often encourages us to fixate on more success, more experiences, more of anything that feels exciting. But as the Stoics understood, this pursuit of constant stimulation only leaves us perpetually wanting. It's like trying to fill a well with sand. No matter how much you pour in, the satisfaction is temporary. Real fulfillment doesn't come from filling life with endless more, but from understanding that the simple, meaningful moments we already have can be sources of deep joy. This perspective shift helps us develop a healthier relationship with pleasure itself. Pleasure isn't wrong, nor is it to be avoided. However, it becomes problematic when it's mistaken for the essence of happiness. Pleasures, like a delicious meal or a fun day with friends, are beautiful parts of life, but they're transient. They pass, as all things do, and if our happiness depends solely on such experiences, it becomes as fleeting as they are. By cultivating a sense of fulfillment, we can enjoy life's pleasures without clinging to them, without needing them to complete us. We learn to appreciate pleasures in their time, letting them go as naturally as they came. Another layer to embracing fulfillment over fleeting joy is the development of a sense of purpose. Fulfillment flourishes when we have direction, when our lives feel connected to something meaningful. The Stoics believed that living with purpose wasn't just about big goals or achievements, but about finding value in the everyday. Purpose might mean contributing positively to those around us, showing kindness, or simply acting with integrity in all we do. These actions may not always bring immediate gratification, but they lay the groundwork for a deeper sense of happiness, a satisfaction that's rooted in knowing we're living in alignment with our values. This pursuit of purpose also calls for resilience. Life inevitably includes setbacks and disappointments, and when happiness is tethered to outcomes, it can easily be lost when things don't go our way. Fulfillment, however, isn't fragile. It isn't destroyed by failures or difficult moments. Instead, it grows from the understanding that we are not defined by any one success or setback. With resilience, we build the capacity to meet challenges head-on without letting them steal our inner peace. This strength isn't about ignoring hardship. Rather, it's about remaining steady through it, staying connected to our purpose even when life is tough. One of the most powerful tools for nurturing fulfillment is gratitude. While fleeting joy often comes from external events, gratitude shifts our attention to what we already have. It's easy to overlook the beauty in our daily lives when we're constantly seeking more, but practicing gratitude allows us to see joy in even the smallest things: the warmth of the sun, the laughter of a friend, or the simple pleasure of a quiet moment. Through gratitude, our view of life expands. What once seemed ordinary becomes precious, and we come to realize that happiness is as much a matter of perspective as it is of circumstance. As we deepen our sense of fulfillment, we naturally begin to detach from the need for constant validation. Often, the desire for approval drives people to seek happiness outside of themselves, in the opinions of others, in status, or in the affirmation of those around them. Yet this kind of happiness is always precarious, easily shaken by criticism or rejection. Fulfillment, by contrast, is self-sufficient. It doesn't rely on applause or recognition because it's rooted in self-acceptance and a sense of personal worth. With this inner confidence, we're less affected by others' judgments, free to live authentically and pursue what brings us genuine joy. In many ways, fulfillment is about simplicity. Our world often equates happiness with complexity, assuming that a busy, event-filled life is a happy one. Yet fulfillment finds contentment in simplicity, in quiet moments, in the richness of stillness. Rather than constantly filling life with noise and activity, it encourages us to appreciate the spaces between, the pauses that allow us to reflect, to breathe, and to reconnect with ourselves. In these moments of simplicity, we discover that happiness isn't something we have to chase, but something that arises naturally when we're fully present. This sense of fulfillment becomes a kind of inner sanctuary, a place we can return to regardless of what's happening around us. It isn't affected by the highs or lows of life, by the things we gain or lose. It's a happiness that's rooted in being, not having. And in this way, fulfillment isn't something we ever truly lose. It becomes a permanent part of who we are. This stability allows us to approach life with openness and curiosity rather than fear and grasping. We don't cling to the good or flee from the bad, but experience each moment fully, knowing that our happiness is secure within us. Living a life of fulfillment also means building relationships that support our well-being. The Stoics recognized the importance of healthy connections with others, not based on neediness or dependency, but on mutual respect and kindness. Relationships become a source of happiness, not because they fill a void, but because they're an opportunity to share, to give, and to grow together. Through these connections, we experience a shared joy that adds richness to life, not through attachment, but through appreciation. In cultivating this kind of happiness, we begin to see life through a new lens. We're no longer so easily swayed by the rise and fall of circumstances. Our hearts become steady, our minds clear. There's a profound peace that comes from this understanding, the knowledge that we don't have to chase happiness, that we don't have to rely on temporary pleasures to feel whole. Instead, we find that happiness is something that flows from within, something that grows as we cultivate self-awareness, integrity, gratitude, and purpose. Embracing fulfillment over fleeting joy transforms how we live. It turns each day into a chance to connect with what matters most, to live with meaning, and to experience a kind of happiness that doesn't waver. It's a path that requires intention, but one that leads to a life of profound contentment. And as we continue on this journey, each moment becomes an opportunity to deepen our joy, not by accumulating more, but by connecting more deeply with the essence of who we are. In choosing fulfillment, we step off the hamster wheel of endless desires and enter a world where happiness isn't something we chase, but something we embody. This isn't just a new way of finding happiness. It's a new way of living, one that brings out the best within us and offers us a peace that no fleeting pleasure can ever provide. Here, in this quiet strength and contentment, is the happiness we've been seeking all along. A fulfilling life is more than just avoiding pain or seeking pleasure. When we stop looking for happiness in fleeting highs and lows, a different path opens up, one that's richer, more meaningful, and firmly grounded in something lasting. This next step is about discovering a deeper kind of happiness, one that isn't affected by each new shift in circumstance or mood. For the Stoics, happiness was not a momentary rush, but a steady, enduring state of contentment. They believed that true joy is found in living with purpose, in aligning life with values, and in drawing satisfaction from a grounded sense of meaning. To understand the Stoic view on happiness, it helps to explore the concept of purpose itself. The Stoics held that every person has a unique role to play, a purpose that goes beyond personal desires or passing ambitions. This purpose isn't about ego or external achievements, but about connecting deeply with the principles and values that guide us. In the Stoic view, purpose is tied to virtue, to live with honesty, integrity, courage, and wisdom. It's this alignment with virtue that transforms daily actions into expressions of inner strength and contentment. By dedicating ourselves to these virtues, we create a life that's fulfilling from the inside out. This alignment with purpose brings a sense of clarity and focus to life, rather than being scattered by constant distractions or drawn by every impulse. Purpose helps us move through life with intention. Decisions become easier, guided by principles rather than shifting feelings or the need for approval. When we act with purpose, there's a peace that comes from knowing our actions have meaning, and this peace is a powerful source of happiness. It's not the kind of happiness that peaks and then fades, but one that grows stronger over time as we continue to live in alignment with our values. A sense of purpose also fosters resilience. When life is anchored in something deeper, we're less affected by setbacks or failures. Instead of feeling defeated by challenges, we see them as opportunities to strengthen our character and grow closer to our values. Resilience in the Stoic sense isn't about denying emotions or acting unaffected. It's about drawing strength from our purpose, allowing it to carry us through difficult times. Each challenge becomes a chance to prove our commitment to what we believe in, to reinforce the qualities that define who we are. With resilience rooted in purpose, we experience happiness not as a fragile feeling, but as a lasting state that endures through life's fluctuations. Living with purpose shifts our focus from seeking pleasure to building a life of substance. In modern times, it's easy to be swept up in the pursuit of pleasure, constantly looking for the next source of excitement or escape. But the Stoics saw pleasure as a byproduct, not the goal. Happiness is not found in indulging every desire, but in knowing when to say enough. Purpose brings discernment, helping us recognize which pursuits contribute to our long-term well-being and which merely distract us. By focusing on what truly matters, we cultivate a deep contentment that can't be matched by fleeting pleasures. In this pursuit of purpose-driven happiness, we also develop gratitude for the present moment. The Stoics taught that each day is an opportunity to live in alignment with our values, to contribute meaningfully to the world around us, and to grow into the person we want to become. When we live with purpose, there's less of a tendency to look back with regret or forward with longing. Instead, we embrace each day as a new chance to embody our principles. Gratitude arises naturally when we see life as a journey toward becoming our best selves, rather than as a series of pleasures and pains to be navigated. Another essential aspect of the Stoic perspective on happiness is the practice of detachment. When happiness is rooted in purpose, we no longer feel the need to control everything around us. We accept that certain outcomes are beyond our influence, and we focus instead on the quality of our actions and intentions. Detachment is not indifference, but a shift in focus. Instead of attaching happiness to success, recognition, or the approval of others, we find contentment in the process of living well. By letting go of attachment to external results, we free ourselves from the constant need for validation. This freedom is a powerful source of happiness because it allows us to live authentically, unburdened by the need to prove ourselves. Purpose also deepens our connections with others. When we live with a sense of direction, we're able to engage more meaningfully with those around us. Relationships take on a new depth when they're based on shared values rather than superficial needs. The Stoics saw friendship as a vital part of a happy life, but not just any friendship. They valued connections that encourage growth, honesty, and kindness. When happiness is grounded in purpose, relationships become sources of mutual support and inspiration. We're no longer drawn to others for approval or out of loneliness, but connect from a place of wholeness, seeking to give as much as we receive. In living with purpose, there's also a greater capacity for joy in simplicity. The Stoics believed that happiness doesn't require luxury or excess, but thrives in simplicity. When life is guided by purpose, we find joy in the most basic experiences, in a day well lived, in acts of kindness, in quiet reflection. This simplicity brings freedom from the endless cycle of wanting and needing more. Happiness becomes something we cultivate from within, not something dependent on possessions or status. This simplicity is liberating because it shifts the focus from accumulating to experiencing, from grasping to appreciating. Purpose also creates a sense of stability in life. When happiness is tied to transient things, it's always at risk. But a life anchored in purpose is grounded and steady. There's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing we're living in alignment with what truly matters. This stability doesn't make life predictable, but it does make us more capable of handling change. Purpose provides a foundation, a compass that guides us through life's uncertainties with calm and clarity. In this way, happiness becomes less about what we achieve and more about who we become. Living with purpose also encourages humility. When happiness is connected to values rather than accomplishments, we become less focused on personal gain and more attuned to the impact of our actions on others. Purpose teaches us that true happiness isn't about standing out or being the best, but about contributing in ways that bring value to others. This humility fosters a sense of connection with the world around us, helping us see that happiness isn't an individual pursuit, but a shared experience. When we focus on purpose, we become more compassionate, more willing to lift others up, knowing that happiness is something we create together. One of the most profound effects of living with purpose is the way it changes our relationship with time. When happiness is tied to immediate gratification, there's a constant pressure to rush, to reach the next milestone. But purpose teaches us patience. We begin to see life as a journey rather than a race, where each step is valuable in itself. Purpose brings a sense of peace with the present, allowing us to appreciate where we are without constantly striving to be somewhere else. This patience nurtures happiness by reminding us that fulfillment isn't something to chase, but something to cultivate day by day. Purpose also brings clarity in facing challenges. In difficult times, purpose becomes a source of strength, reminding us of what's truly important. Challenges become opportunities to reaffirm our values, to grow in resilience, and to deepen our commitment to the life we want to lead. When happiness is connected to purpose, even hardships hold meaning. We don't view them as obstacles to happiness, but as stepping stones on the path to a richer, more fulfilling life. This approach transforms adversity from something to fear into something that strengthens us. Purpose offers a sense of fulfillment that transcends personal satisfaction. When we live with purpose, Happiness isn't just about feeling good, it's about doing good. It's about contributing to something beyond ourselves, knowing that our lives have a positive impact on others and the world. This sense of contribution is one of the most rewarding aspects of purpose-driven happiness, providing a joy that goes beyond self-interest. The Stoics believed that a life well lived is one that serves the greater good, and it's in this service that we find the deepest sense of contentment. Through purpose, we connect with a happiness that isn't fragile or fleeting. It's a happiness that endures because it's based on who we are and what we stand for. The Stoics remind us that true joy comes from living in harmony with our values, from building a life of integrity, and from finding meaning in both the big and small moments. This happiness doesn't need constant stimulation, approval, or success. It's a quiet, lasting contentment that arises from the journey itself, a journey guided by purpose and enriched by every step along the way. As we continue exploring Stoic wisdom, this sense of purpose becomes not just a concept, but a living practice, a foundation for a life of true happiness, grounded in meaning and filled with a sense of peace that no external force can take away. As we move further into the essence of true happiness, there is one crucial element that holds everything together: the ability to control our emotional reactions. Emotions are a powerful force, influencing how we see the world, how we respond to challenges, and ultimately, the degree of peace we feel within ourselves. When emotions govern our actions and thoughts, they often lead to chaos, frustration, and a sense of being pulled in every direction by forces we cannot control. But when emotions are mastered, they become sources of wisdom, grounding us in strength and calm. For the Stoics, mastering emotional reactions was not about suppression or denial. It was about recognizing emotions, understanding them, and responding with clarity. The first step to mastering emotions is understanding their nature. Emotions arise from the way we interpret events, not from the events themselves. The Stoics recognized this truth long ago, observing that what disturbs us is not the world, but how we view it. Anger, fear, jealousy, and disappointment are all rooted in perceptions, shaped by beliefs, expectations, and attachments. By adjusting these inner filters, we have the power to reshape our emotional responses. For example, a harsh comment may trigger anger if we see it as a personal attack, but if we interpret it as a reflection of the other person's issues rather than our own, our emotional response changes. Understanding that emotions stem from within puts us back in the driver's seat, giving us the opportunity to choose how we respond to life's challenges. Awareness is central to this process. To master emotions, it's essential to become aware of them as they arise. Often, people react without understanding the underlying emotion, allowing anger, fear, or frustration to dictate their actions without question. Developing awareness means pausing when emotions surface, observing them without judgment, and acknowledging their presence. This moment of pause creates a space between the stimulus and the reaction, allowing us to see the situation more clearly. Awareness acts as a buffer, reducing the chance of impulsive reactions and enabling us to respond with wisdom rather than raw emotion. This practice of awareness leads to a second vital skill: discernment. Once we're aware of our emotions, discernment allows us to evaluate their origin and validity. The Stoics emphasized the importance of examining thoughts and emotions closely. Not all feelings are grounded in reality. Some are products of assumptions, insecurities, or past wounds. Discernment means asking, is this emotion rooted in truth? Does it serve my well-being? This level of inquiry helps us avoid being swept away by fleeting emotions and instead focus on responses that align with our values and intentions. Acceptance is another cornerstone in managing emotions. Stoicism teaches that resisting emotions often strengthens them. Rather than battling anger or denying fear, acceptance allows us to acknowledge these feelings without judgment or resistance. When we accept emotions, we disarm them, reducing their power over us. Acceptance doesn't mean acting on every feeling, but it does mean allowing ourselves to experience emotions fully, seeing them as natural responses without shame or guilt. This openness reduces internal conflict and leads to greater inner peace, as we no longer feel pressured to push emotions away or pretend they don't exist. After acceptance, the practice of reframing helps transform emotional reactions into more constructive responses. Reframing is the ability to see situations from different perspectives, to shift the lens through which we view events. A Stoic might reframe a setback not as a failure, but as an opportunity to grow or learn. This shift in perspective lessens the impact of negative emotions, allowing us to see challenges as stepping stones rather than obstacles. Reframing provides emotional flexibility, helping us adapt to various situations without becoming overwhelmed by emotions. In mastering emotions, patience plays a crucial role. Emotions are not easily controlled or suppressed, and trying to forcefully change them only creates tension. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to be patient, to observe emotions without rushing to conclusions or actions. Patience allows emotions to flow without the need to immediately resolve or react to them. With time, intense feelings naturally subside, and we can respond with a clearer mind. Patience gives us the grace to sit with discomfort, recognizing that emotions are temporary and will pass. Resilience is also strengthened through emotional mastery. By not allowing emotions to dictate actions, we build a steady foundation that supports us during life's storms. When emotions no longer control us, we become resilient to external events. This resilience doesn't mean being unfeeling, but rather it means we're not easily shaken. Resilience grows as we learn to observe emotions without being absorbed by them, allowing us to stay grounded and calm even in challenging situations. In addition to resilience, emotional mastery fosters compassion, both toward ourselves and others. When we understand the nature of emotions, we see that they often arise from pain, fear, or insecurity. Recognizing this in ourselves helps us see it in others as well. Instead of reacting to anger with anger, we can respond with understanding, realizing that others' emotional outbursts may be rooted in their struggles. Compassion allows us to remain calm in the face of conflict, transforming potentially harmful interactions into opportunities for kindness. Self-reflection is another essential practice in emotional mastery. By taking time each day to reflect on our emotional responses, we gain insight into our patterns and triggers. Self-reflection enables us to identify situations that consistently provoke certain emotions and explore why these reactions occur. Over time, this understanding allows us to address the root causes of emotions, reducing their intensity and frequency. Self-reflection brings clarity, helping us make conscious choices about how to respond to our emotional landscape. Forgiveness also plays a role in managing emotions. Holding on to resentment or anger only fuels negative emotions, keeping us locked in cycles of frustration. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It means freeing ourselves from the weight of emotional burdens. By letting go of grudges, we release the grip that negative emotions have on our lives, creating space for peace and contentment. Forgiveness allows us to move forward without carrying the weight of past hurts, which often trigger recurring emotional responses. Detachment is a powerful Stoic practice in managing emotions. Detachment doesn't imply indifference, but rather an ability to separate ourselves from overwhelming reactions. Detachment means seeing emotions without identifying with them, understanding that they're temporary states, not defining qualities. This practice brings a calm perspective, where we experience emotions without letting them control our identity. Detachment allows us to view situations objectively, making decisions based on reason rather than emotional impulse. Purpose, as explored previously, also plays a key role in emotional mastery. When we live with purpose, our emotional responses align with our values rather than fleeting desires or fears. Purpose brings stability to our reactions, anchoring us in a sense of meaning that transcends temporary feelings. With a strong sense of purpose, we're less likely to be swayed by emotions and more likely to respond in ways that reflect our deeper goals and intentions. Purpose-driven responses create a sense of satisfaction, knowing that our actions align with who we aspire to be. Practicing gratitude also aids in managing emotions. By focusing on the positives in life, we shift attention away from frustrations, reducing the intensity of negative feelings. Gratitude helps cultivate a mindset that's resilient to emotional extremes. It reminds us of the abundance already present, reducing the impact of emotions tied to longing or dissatisfaction. Gratitude doesn't eliminate emotions, but it softens their edges, allowing us to experience a more balanced emotional landscape. Acceptance of mortality, a core Stoic practice, also transforms emotional reactions. By acknowledging life's finite nature, we gain perspective on what truly matters, making us less prone to emotional turmoil over minor setbacks. This awareness helps us view each day with appreciation, reducing the emotional weight we place on trivial issues. The acceptance of life's brevity brings a clarity that naturally balances emotions, fostering a mindset that prioritizes peace over fleeting reactions. The practice of mindfulness enhances emotional mastery. By staying present, we reduce the influence of thoughts about the past or worries about the future. Mindfulness grounds us, allowing us to observe emotions without becoming lost in them. This state of presence helps us see emotions as passing waves, allowing us to experience them fully without being controlled by them. Mindfulness brings a calmness that enables us to respond rather than react, creating a foundation of inner peace that's resilient to external disturbances. In learning to master emotions, we gain freedom from the cycle of reaction and regret. The Stoic path to emotional mastery is not about eliminating feelings, but transforming our relationship with them. Through awareness, acceptance, reflection, and resilience, we cultivate a stable inner world where emotions serve as guides rather than masters. In doing so, we find a profound sense of peace, an inner calm that remains no matter the storms around us. This mastery is not achieved overnight, but with consistent practice, it becomes a natural part of our character, allowing us to live each day with clarity, purpose, and unwavering contentment. As we deepen our understanding of emotional mastery, there's a profound shift that takes place, one where calm becomes a choice, not just a reaction. This shift isn't about controlling every feeling or forcing ourselves to be emotionless. Rather, it's about fostering a balanced state where happiness can grow naturally. The Stoics knew that true happiness arises not from denying emotions, but from handling them with a steady, calm mind. With simple techniques, we can navigate emotions without letting them rule us, cultivating a deep sense of inner peace and fulfillment. This peace, like a still lake reflecting the sky, allows happiness to unfold on its own, undisturbed by the turmoil of reactive emotions. The first technique to cultivate this calm is through mindful breathing. When emotions are intense, breathing tends to become shallow or rapid, mirroring our inner turmoil. By slowing down and focusing on each breath, we bring ourselves back to the present moment, creating a space of calm within. This simple act of slowing the breath sends a message to the mind and body that it's safe to relax, reducing the physiological grip of anxiety, anger, or frustration. Deep breathing reconnects us with our center, breaking the chain of reactivity and grounding us in clarity. This grounding is essential for a calm approach to emotions, helping us to avoid being swept away by their intensity. Another technique is the practice of grounding, which involves focusing on physical sensations to anchor ourselves in the present. When emotions start to escalate, we can draw attention to the feel of the floor underfoot, the texture of an object in our hands, or the sounds around us. This simple shift in focus redirects energy away from mental spirals and back into the body, creating a physical anchor in the here and now. Grounding helps us stay connected to reality, reducing the urge to react impulsively. By engaging our senses, we restore balance, giving emotions the space to pass naturally without overwhelming our mind. Pausing before responding is another powerful technique that allows calmness to guide our actions. Often, emotions drive us to react quickly, and in this haste, we may say or do things we later regret. The Stoics emphasized the power of the pause, that small moment between stimulus and response where we choose how to act. By practicing this pause, we allow the initial intensity of emotions to settle, creating room for thoughtful responses. This moment of calm strengthens our self-control, helping us to respond in ways that reflect our values rather than being driven by fleeting feelings. Journaling is a highly effective tool for processing emotions calmly. By writing out our thoughts and feelings, we create a safe space to explore what's going on inside without the pressure of immediate response. Journaling lets us express emotions fully, helping to release their intensity. It also provides insight into patterns, revealing triggers or recurring themes in our emotional landscape. Through this process, we gain greater clarity on our emotions and can approach them with understanding rather than judgment. With each journal entry, we build a stronger foundation of self-awareness, which in turn fosters a sense of calm and emotional resilience. Visualization is another technique that brings calm to emotional experiences. When emotions feel overwhelming, visualizing a place or scene that represents peace can help center the mind. This could be a quiet forest, an open ocean, or any setting that evokes calmness. Visualization works by shifting focus away from the emotional storm and into a state of tranquility. By repeatedly practicing visualization, we train the mind to access calm even in challenging situations. This technique serves as a mental retreat, a place to restore balance and gather strength before re-engaging with the present moment. Acceptance is a key part of handling emotions calmly. When we fight against our feelings, they often intensify. Accepting emotions doesn't mean indulging them, but rather acknowledging them without resistance. By allowing emotions to exist without judgment, we release the pressure to change them. This acceptance creates an environment where emotions can dissipate naturally. Acceptance reduces inner conflict, creating a sense of peace even in the midst of strong feelings. This approach aligns with the Stoic idea that peace comes from working with, rather than against, our inner experiences. Another effective practice is labeling emotions. When emotions are intense, labeling them can reduce their power. By naming what we feel, anger, sadness, frustration, we create a degree of separation, allowing us to observe the emotion rather than being consumed by it. Labeling brings clarity, transforming vague discomfort into something identifiable. This clarity helps us respond calmly, recognizing emotions as temporary states rather than permanent realities. Through labeling, we develop a habit of observing rather than reacting, allowing us to handle emotions with a steady, balanced mind. Self-compassion is essential for cultivating inner calm during emotional experiences. Emotions can be intense, and it's common to feel frustrated with ourselves for feeling a certain way. However, this frustration only adds to the emotional load. Practicing self-compassion means treating ourselves with kindness, acknowledging that emotions are a natural part of being human. This approach creates a gentle space for emotions to unfold, reducing the tension that often arises from self-criticism. With self-compassion, we develop a more nurturing relationship with ourselves, which naturally fosters inner balance and emotional well-being. Focusing on the body also aids in calming emotions. Physical tension often accompanies emotional intensity, creating a feedback loop that intensifies the experience. By paying attention to areas of tension, perhaps in the shoulders, neck, or jaw, we can release this physical strain, helping to ease the mind as well. Gentle stretching or even a few minutes of mindful movement can relieve emotional tension stored in the body, promoting a state of calm. As we care for the body, we support the mind in returning to a balanced state, showing that calmness involves both physical and mental awareness. Learning to accept impermanence is another Stoic technique that supports calm in the face of emotions. Emotions are fluid, constantly changing in response to thoughts, events, and perspectives. By understanding their impermanent nature, we can experience emotions without becoming attached to them. Emotions rise and fall like waves, and by accepting their transitory nature, we find peace even in strong emotional experiences. This perspective reduces the fear of being overwhelmed, allowing us to approach emotions with calm curiosity rather than resistance. Another calming practice is reframing thoughts. Emotions are often influenced by the stories we tell ourselves about situations. For example, viewing a setback as a failure intensifies feelings of frustration, while seeing it as a lesson shifts the emotional tone to one of growth. Reframing changes the narrative, allowing us to see situations from perspectives that support emotional balance. This practice gives us the flexibility to approach experiences without rigid interpretations, making it easier to maintain calm when faced with difficult emotions. Engaging in regular reflection is also beneficial for emotional calmness. Taking time each day to reflect on emotional experiences provides valuable insights into our responses. Reflection allows us to learn from each emotional moment, understanding what triggered it and how we can approach it differently in the future. This practice strengthens our awareness, enabling us to recognize emotions as they arise and respond with calmness. Reflection turns each experience into a lesson, building a resilient foundation for managing emotions over time. Setting intentions for emotional responses can also create a foundation of calm. By deciding in advance how we wish to respond to certain emotions, we create a mental roadmap that guides us through challenging moments. For example, setting an intention to respond with patience during stressful times gives us a clear goal to work toward. Intentions serve as reminders, helping us stay aligned with our desire for inner peace, even when emotions are strong. This proactive approach helps us respond from a place of calm, maintaining balance rather than reacting impulsively. Cultivating gratitude is another way to naturally calm the mind. When emotions become overwhelming, shifting attention to things we're grateful for changes our mental landscape. Gratitude redirects focus away from what's troubling and brings our awareness to what's positive and stable. This practice fosters a sense of contentment that counters emotional turbulence. By focusing on gratitude, we cultivate an inner calm that can withstand emotional highs and lows, creating a stable foundation for happiness to arise from within. Practicing non-attachment is also essential for calm emotional handling. Non-attachment means letting go of rigid expectations about how things should be. When we cling to specific outcomes or desires, emotions become volatile, reacting to every deviation from our expectations. Non-attachment, by contrast, allows us to experience emotions without being defined by them. It creates a sense of openness, reducing the pressure of unmet expectations. This perspective leads to a calmer approach to emotions, as we become less influenced by what happens and more focused on how we respond. Maintaining a daily practice of mindfulness brings all these techniques together. Mindfulness keeps us rooted in the present, reducing the impact of past regrets or future worries on our emotions. By consistently practicing mindfulness, we develop a habit of observing emotions with a calm and centered mind. This state of awareness enables us to respond thoughtfully to each emotional wave, finding balance in the midst of life's ups and downs. Mindfulness fosters an ongoing sense of calm that transforms emotional experiences into sources of wisdom and peace. Through these practices, we build a way of life where emotions are handled with ease, where balance is maintained, and where happiness grows naturally from a place of inner calm. Each technique brings us closer to a state of peace, creating a foundation for a life that isn't ruled by emotional highs or lows. In cultivating calm responses to emotions, we create a lasting sense of fulfillment, allowing happiness to arise from within as a steady, unshakable presence. This inner balance is the key to a truly happy life, free from the turmoil of reactive emotions and filled with a quiet, enduring joy. As we deepen our path to inner peace, self-awareness emerges as a guiding light, leading us to the values and priorities that shape a meaningful life. This awareness is more than simply knowing oneself. It's about discovering the principles that bring true joy and fulfillment. Without this understanding, life can feel like a series of random events, leaving us searching for purpose and direction. Self-awareness gives us clarity, revealing what genuinely matters and allowing us to craft a life that aligns with our deepest intentions. This alignment brings a profound sense of contentment, a steady fulfillment that isn't dependent on external factors. At the core of self-awareness is the ability to understand our motivations. Many people go through life driven by habits, expectations, or the desires of others, without fully understanding why they make the choices they do. Self-awareness invites us to pause and question, to explore the why behind each action. This exploration reveals whether our decisions are based on genuine values or on external pressures. By understanding our motivations, we make more intentional choices that reflect who we truly are, fostering a sense of fulfillment that can only come from living authentically. Self-awareness also helps us identify the values that guide our lives. Values are the foundation of who we are, the principles we hold dear regardless of circumstances. Without clarity on our values, it's easy to be influenced by fleeting desires or societal expectations. Through self-awareness, we uncover these core principles, which become a compass that steers us through life's decisions. When we know what we value, our choices are rooted in authenticity rather than influenced by the opinions or trends around us. This grounded approach creates a sense of stability and inner peace, knowing that our actions are in harmony with our true selves. Recognizing our values allows us to prioritize effectively. Life is filled with opportunities, distractions, and endless choices, and without priorities, we can become overwhelmed or scattered. Self-awareness reveals what matters most, enabling us to focus on the activities, relationships, and goals that align with our values. By setting priorities based on self-knowledge, we eliminate distractions and direct our energy toward what genuinely brings joy. This focus reduces stress and enhances our sense of purpose, creating a fulfilling life where each day reflects what truly matters to us. Through self-awareness, we also gain insight into our strengths and weaknesses. Recognizing our strengths allows us to contribute meaningfully to the world, while understanding our limitations helps us grow with humility. This awareness fosters a balanced view of ourselves, appreciating our talents without falling into arrogance and acknowledging our areas for growth without self-criticism. When we act from a place of self-awareness, we use our strengths wisely, building confidence that's grounded in reality. This balanced self-view promotes a fulfilling life where growth and acceptance coexist, creating a lasting sense of inner peace. In addition to strengths, self-awareness shines a light on our passions. Passions are the activities or pursuits that make us feel alive, that inspire and energize us. Yet without awareness, we might overlook these passions, following routines that don't truly satisfy us. Self-awareness brings these passions to the forefront, encouraging us to pursue what we genuinely love. When we engage in activities that ignite our passion, we experience a natural joy that enhances our overall happiness. This joy isn't forced or dependent on external rewards. It's a pure expression of our true self, a source of happiness that lasts because it's rooted in authenticity. Self-awareness also helps us understand our emotional triggers. Emotions are deeply connected to our values and experiences, and certain situations or interactions can provoke strong reactions. By becoming aware of these triggers, we gain the power to respond rather than react. This awareness reduces conflict, both internal and external, as we're able to navigate situations with calm and clarity. When we understand our triggers, we can approach challenging moments with empathy for ourselves and others, fostering healthier relationships and a more harmonious life. Developing self-awareness requires reflection. Taking time to reflect on our experiences, choices, and feelings brings a deeper understanding of ourselves. Reflection isn't about judgment, it's about observing with curiosity. By looking back on our actions and emotions, we gain insight into what drives us, what brings us joy, and what causes discomfort. This practice strengthens our awareness, enabling us to make choices that align with our values and create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Journaling is a powerful tool for cultivating self-awareness. Writing down thoughts, goals, and reflections creates a space for self-exploration. Through journaling, we can identify patterns in our behavior, clarify our values, and articulate our desires. This practice turns abstract thoughts into concrete words, making it easier to understand ourselves. Over time, journaling helps us recognize recurring themes, shedding light on what truly matters. This awareness guides our decisions, helping us stay aligned with our values and creating a fulfilling life based on clarity and purpose. Mindfulness also plays a vital role in self-awareness. By staying present, we become more attuned to our thoughts, feelings, and reactions. Mindfulness encourages us to observe our inner experiences without attachment, allowing us to understand them without judgment. This awareness of the present moment reveals our habitual patterns, showing us where we might be acting out of habit rather than choice. Through mindfulness, we deepen our understanding of ourselves, gaining the insight needed to make conscious choices that reflect our values and priorities. Self-awareness also requires the courage to face uncomfortable truths. Sometimes, This journey reveals aspects of ourselves that are difficult to accept, such as fears, insecurities, or past mistakes. Embracing these parts with compassion allows us to heal and grow, transforming areas of weakness into sources of strength. By facing these truths, we free ourselves from their control, reducing the influence of unresolved issues on our present. This honesty fosters a sense of liberation, creating space for a more authentic and joyful life. Empathy for ourselves and others is strengthened through self-awareness. By understanding our own experiences, we become more compassionate toward the struggles of others. Self-awareness reveals the shared humanity in our challenges, reminding us that everyone has difficulties and fears. This empathy enriches our relationships, allowing us to connect with others on a deeper level. When we approach life with empathy, we create meaningful connections, finding joy not only in our own fulfillment, but in the shared experiences that bring people together. Self-awareness also helps us set boundaries that protect our well-being. When we know our values and priorities, it becomes easier to recognize what aligns with them and what doesn't. Boundaries become clear, not as restrictions, but as expressions of self-respect. By setting boundaries, we create space for what truly matters, preserving our energy for activities and relationships that bring joy. This practice enhances our quality of life, allowing us to invest fully in what resonates with our values and leaving behind what doesn't serve us. Another benefit of self-awareness is the ability to handle uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and without self-knowledge, uncertainty can create anxiety. But when we're aware of our core values, we have a foundation that remains steady even when circumstances change. This inner stability reduces the fear of the unknown, allowing us to navigate life's unpredictability with confidence. Self-awareness gives us an anchor, a sense of direction that guides us through change, making it easier to adapt without losing our sense of self. Through self-awareness, we also develop resilience. Knowing our values and priorities gives us the strength to persevere, even in difficult times. Resilience isn't about avoiding hardship, but facing it with a steady heart. When we're connected to what matters most, we're better equipped to handle setbacks, as our happiness isn't dependent on external conditions. This resilience creates a fulfilling life, where joy isn't shaken by temporary struggles, but grows stronger with each challenge overcome. Authenticity flourishes with self-awareness. When we understand ourselves, we no longer feel the need to wear masks or conform to others' expectations. We become comfortable with who we are, expressing our true thoughts and feelings. This authenticity brings a sense of freedom, as we're no longer bound by the opinions of others. Living authentically allows us to build relationships based on trust and honesty, creating connections that are fulfilling and supportive. This genuine way of living fosters happiness that's rooted in being true to oneself. Self-awareness also enhances decision-making. When we know our values and priorities, choices become clearer. We can assess options based on how they align with our core beliefs, rather than being swayed by momentary desires or outside pressures. This clarity simplifies decisions, reducing stress and uncertainty. With each choice made from a place of self-awareness, we build a life that reflects who we truly are, leading to deeper satisfaction and joy. Another gift of self-awareness is the ability to embrace simplicity. Often people chase complexity, believing that happiness lies in constant activity or achievement. But self-awareness reveals that fulfillment can be found in simple pleasures and quiet moments. When we're connected to our values, we appreciate the beauty of simplicity, finding joy in experiences that reflect our true selves rather than the demands of society. This appreciation for simplicity creates a balanced life where happiness is found in the present, in the small moments that bring peace. Self-awareness helps us manage our energy wisely. Knowing our priorities allows us to focus on what truly matters, avoiding the drain of unimportant tasks or distractions. This focus preserves our energy for meaningful pursuits, enhancing our quality of life. By investing our time and energy in alignment with our values, we create a life that feels purposeful and fulfilling, where each day contributes to a sense of lasting joy. In cultivating self-awareness, we unlock a path to joy that isn't dependent on circumstances, but rooted in knowing and honoring ourselves. This journey is one of discovery, growth, and connection, guiding us to a life that reflects our deepest intentions. Through this awareness, we build a life where happiness arises naturally, grounded in the clarity of who we are and what we truly value. This foundation of self-awareness supports us in every decision, relationship, and experience, allowing us to live with integrity, purpose, and a profound sense of fulfillment. As we continue our journey into a fulfilling life, we encounter a truth that brings profound peace. Some things are simply beyond our control. Life has its own rhythm, unfolding in ways we often cannot predict or influence. Trying to control everything around us only leads to frustration, anxiety, and an endless struggle. However, by embracing acceptance, we find a way to be at peace with life's unpredictability. This isn't about giving up or losing hope. It's about making a choice to release resistance, to let go of the need for everything to align perfectly, and to trust that we can face whatever comes with grace. In acceptance, we discover a calm strength that guides us through life's challenges. Acceptance begins with the realization that our control is limited. We cannot always dictate outcomes, nor can we manage the actions of others or the circumstances we find ourselves in. By focusing on what is within our control, our attitudes, responses, and intentions, we allow ourselves to release the weight of trying to manage everything else. This shift in perspective brings a deep sense of relief, as we are no longer burdened by unrealistic expectations. Acceptance is freeing. It lifts the pressure to constantly strive for perfection in a world that often has its own plans. Through this, we find peace in simply doing our best and letting go of the rest. Acceptance also helps us cope with loss. Life is filled with moments of change. Relationships evolve, careers shift, and sometimes we experience unexpected setbacks. These changes can be painful, but by embracing acceptance, we allow ourselves to feel and process our emotions without getting lost in them. Instead of resisting loss, acceptance encourages us to grieve in a way that honors our experiences and the connections we've built. In this way, acceptance doesn't remove the pain, but it creates space for healing, allowing us to move forward with a sense of inner peace rather than carrying the burden of unresolved emotions. This approach to acceptance teaches us resilience. Life's challenges, disappointments, and hardships often feel overwhelming, especially when we resist them, wishing they weren't there. Acceptance strengthens our capacity to face these difficulties without being broken by them. It allows us to stand firm, not because we are untouched by hardship, but because we have learned to bend without breaking. Resilience born from acceptance is like a tree that sways with the wind but remains deeply rooted. We adapt without losing our core. This resilience makes it possible to find peace even in challenging times, trusting that we have the strength to endure. Acceptance also transforms our relationships. Often, conflicts arise from wanting others to act or think in certain ways. By accepting others as they are, we free ourselves from the need to change them. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything or allowing harm, but it does mean letting go of unrealistic expectations. Acceptance creates space for true connection, where we respect each person's individuality and see them for who they are, rather than who we wish them to be. This shift allows relationships to flourish in an atmosphere of openness and mutual respect, reducing tension and creating a foundation for deeper understanding. In embracing acceptance, we learn to live in the present. Often, we get caught up in regrets about the past or worries about the future, missing out on the peace available right now. Acceptance brings us back to the present moment, inviting us to fully experience life as it is, without getting lost in what could have been or what might be. By focusing on the here and now, we find a calmness that isn't dependent on circumstances, a quiet contentment that arises from simply being. This presence grounds us, allowing us to enjoy life's simple moments without the constant pull of what if. Acceptance also fosters gratitude. When we accept life as it unfolds, we begin to notice the small blessings in each day. Gratitude grows naturally when we stop fighting reality, as we become more attuned to the beauty and goodness that surround us. This perspective shift helps us see challenges as opportunities for growth, even if they're difficult. Instead of focusing on what we lack, we appreciate what we have, finding joy in what is rather than longing for what isn't. This gratitude enriches our lives, adding depth to our experiences and creating a foundation for lasting happiness. Through acceptance, we develop patience. Life doesn't always move according to our schedule, and waiting can be frustrating. Acceptance teaches us to let go of the need for immediate results, allowing things to unfold in their own time. Patience becomes a form of trust, an understanding that some things require time to grow, heal, or change. This patient acceptance reduces stress, as we no longer rush or force outcomes. Instead, we move with life's pace, embracing the journey with a sense of calm and trust. This patience creates room for appreciation, as we learn to value each stage of the process. Forgiveness also becomes easier through acceptance. Holding on to resentment keeps us anchored in past hurts, preventing us from finding peace. Acceptance helps us release this burden, not by condoning wrongdoing, but by choosing to free ourselves from the weight of anger. Forgiveness isn't always easy, but it becomes possible when we accept that people, including ourselves, are imperfect. Through acceptance, we let go of the desire for things to be different, allowing us to move forward with a lighter heart. Forgiveness becomes a gift we give ourselves, creating space for healing and inner peace. Acceptance encourages us to embrace uncertainty. Life is full of unknowns, and this unpredictability can be a source of anxiety if we resist it. By accepting uncertainty as a natural part of life, we learn to find peace within it. We stop demanding guarantees and begin to see the unknown as a space of possibility. This perspective helps us approach life with curiosity rather than fear, opening us to new experiences without needing to control every outcome. Embracing uncertainty brings a sense of adventure, as we learn to trust that we can handle whatever comes our way. Acceptance also nurtures humility. Recognizing our limitations reminds us that we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. Humility allows us to approach life with an open mind, ready to learn rather than insisting on being right. This openness reduces conflict, both within ourselves and with others, as we're less defensive and more receptive. Humility rooted in acceptance helps us grow, as we remain willing to learn from each experience, each person, and each challenge. This attitude fosters a sense of peace, as we no longer feel the need to prove ourselves, but instead, we embrace the journey of continual learning. Through acceptance, we find clarity. When we resist reality, our thoughts become clouded with frustration and denial, making it difficult to see situations as they are. Acceptance clears away this mental fog, allowing us to approach life with a clear mind and an open heart. Clarity brings understanding, helping us see what truly matters and what is beyond our control. This understanding makes it easier to focus on what we can influence and let go of what we cannot, creating a sense of freedom and focus that enhances our sense of inner peace. Acceptance also reduces the fear of failure. Often, we resist taking risks because we're afraid of falling short or facing setbacks. By accepting that failure is a part of growth, we become less intimidated by it. Failure becomes a teacher, a necessary step in the process of learning and improving. This mindset encourages us to pursue our goals without the weight of perfectionism, knowing that each attempt, successful or not, is valuable. Acceptance of failure transforms our relationship with challenges, helping us embrace them as opportunities for growth rather than threats to our self-worth. With acceptance, we cultivate contentment. Contentment is the quiet joy that arises when we are at peace with what is. It's a happiness that doesn't rely on having more or achieving certain outcomes. By accepting life as it is, we find satisfaction in the present moment, appreciating the journey rather than constantly striving for something else. Contentment doesn't mean complacency. It means that we value each step, finding fulfillment in the process of living. This approach fosters a lasting sense of joy that isn't dependent on circumstances, creating a life rich in peace and purpose. Acceptance teaches us to trust ourselves. When we stop resisting reality, we strengthen our belief in our ability to handle whatever comes. This trust grows from the understanding that we don't need to control everything to feel safe or successful. We develop confidence in our resilience, knowing that we can navigate both highs and lows with grace. This self-trust becomes a source of inner strength, empowering us to face life's uncertainties with courage rather than fear. In this trust, we find a peace that is unshakable, grounded in the knowledge that we are capable and whole. Embracing acceptance also deepens our appreciation for life's simplicity. Often, we complicate life by wanting it to be different, adding layers of expectations and desires. Acceptance simplifies our perspective, allowing us to enjoy the beauty in the ordinary. This simplicity brings a profound joy as we learn to value the small moments and quiet spaces that often go unnoticed. By embracing what is, we see the richness of life as it unfolds naturally, finding happiness in simplicity rather than constant striving. Through acceptance, we find a connection to the larger picture of life. When we resist life's flow, we become isolated, feeling as if we're fighting against an indifferent universe. Acceptance reminds us that we are part of something greater, a natural rhythm that includes both joy and sorrow. This connection brings a sense of peace as we understand that life's cycles are part of a larger design. By aligning ourselves with this flow, we find harmony rather than resistance, experiencing life with a sense of unity and belonging. In practicing acceptance, we build a life that isn't dependent on perfect conditions, but thrives in the real, unpredictable world. Each moment of acceptance strengthens our resilience, our compassion, and our joy. Through this, we create a peace that remains steady, unshaken by the highs and lows of life. Acceptance isn't just a practice, it's a path to a life filled with calm, wisdom, and a deep, lasting contentment that flows from within. As we continue this journey, we find that acceptance is not a passive surrender, but an active embrace of life in all its complexity, creating a foundation for true happiness and inner peace. At the heart of a peaceful mind lies a powerful truth. There are some things we simply cannot control. This realization is not one of defeat, but of liberation. In acknowledging the limits of our influence, we find freedom from the constant strain of trying to shape every detail of our lives. The Stoics taught that by focusing on what we can change and accepting what we cannot, we cultivate a calm, steady mind, free from the anxiety that arises when we resist reality. This acceptance transforms our relationship with life's uncertainties, replacing stress with a grounded sense of peace. Accepting what we cannot change begins with a shift in perspective. Often, we feel compelled to fix every problem, to make every outcome favorable, but this need for control can quickly become a source of stress. By recognizing that some things are outside our influence, we learn to let go of unnecessary burdens. This shift doesn't mean becoming passive. It means redirecting our energy toward what we can genuinely affect. We find a new sense of clarity as our attention focuses on actions that bring positive change, rather than exhausting ourselves over factors that remain beyond our reach. This practice of acceptance also reduces worry. Worry often stems from fear of the unknown, from trying to anticipate every possible outcome. But when we accept that some things are beyond our control, we no longer feel the need to prepare for every scenario. Instead, we find peace in knowing that whatever happens, we have the strength to face it. This mindset doesn't eliminate all concern, but transforms it, allowing us to approach challenges with calm rather than anxiety. This shift from worry to trust is deeply liberating as we realize that life will continue, whether we stress over it or not. Acceptance helps us embrace impermanence. Many of life's changes are inevitable, yet we often resist them, clinging to what feels familiar. This resistance creates tension as we try to hold on to things that naturally shift and evolve. By accepting the transient nature of life, we open ourselves to a more fluid experience, one where we adapt rather than struggle. This approach allows us to appreciate each moment as it comes, understanding that change is a part of life's natural rhythm. In embracing impermanence, we find a lasting sense of peace, as we no longer fight against life's flow, but move harmoniously with it. Accepting what cannot be changed also enhances resilience. When we face difficulties, our natural response may be to resist, to wish things were different. This resistance drains our energy, making challenges feel even heavier. By accepting the situation as it is, we conserve our strength, focusing on how to respond rather than lamenting the problem. This resilience allows us to face adversity with courage, knowing that while we may not control the circumstances, we control our response. This approach fosters a deep inner strength as we become less shaken by setbacks and more confident in our ability to endure. This practice also improves our relationships. Much of the stress in relationships arises from wanting others to act in specific ways. By accepting people as they are, we release the expectation that they should change to meet our needs. This acceptance creates an atmosphere of mutual respect, where each person feels valued and understood. Rather than trying to control each interaction, we learn to respond with patience and empathy, finding joy in the connection rather than frustration in unmet expectations. This approach fosters harmony, as we no longer place the burden of our happiness on others, allowing relationships to flourish naturally. Acceptance also brings clarity in decision-making. Often, decisions are clouded by fears about factors beyond our control, how others will react, what the outcome will be, or whether conditions will change. By focusing on what we can influence, we make decisions from a place of calm and confidence. This clarity reduces the stress of second-guessing, as we trust that we have made the best choice with the information available. This acceptance of uncertainty allows us to move forward without being paralyzed by what-if scenarios, making decisions that align with our values and goals rather than being driven by fear. In embracing what we cannot change, we also find forgiveness. Resentment often lingers when we feel that past events or actions should have been different. By accepting that the past cannot be altered, we free ourselves from the weight of resentment. Forgiveness becomes a natural outcome as we let go of the desire for things to be other than they were. This forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, but it does mean releasing ourselves from the hold of past hurts, allowing us to move forward with a lighter heart. This release brings profound peace, as we no longer allow old wounds to dictate our present happiness. Acceptance also deepens our sense of gratitude. When we stop resisting reality, we begin to see the beauty in what is. We become more aware of the simple joys that surround us, appreciating life as it unfolds, rather than wishing it were different. This gratitude arises from an openness to life's gifts, however small. It shifts our focus from lack to abundance as we recognize the value of each experience. This perspective creates a lasting sense of fulfillment as we find happiness in the present moment rather than chasing an ideal that may never come. Through acceptance, we learn to manage expectations. Unrealistic expectations often lead to disappointment, as reality rarely conforms to our idealized vision. By accepting that life is imperfect, we adjust our expectations, finding peace in what is rather than longing for what could be. This approach doesn't mean settling, but encourages us to focus on the positive aspects of each experience. This balance between aspiration and acceptance brings contentment as we strive for growth while appreciating the journey. We learn to savor progress without demanding perfection, finding joy in each step rather than frustration in unmet expectations. Acceptance also enhances our capacity for patience. When we want things to change immediately, we create stress by imposing a timeline on life's natural pace. By accepting that some things take time, we develop patience, allowing growth and change to unfold in their own time. This patience reduces frustration as we no longer feel the need to rush or force outcomes. Instead, we find peace in the waiting, trusting that with time, clarity will emerge. This patience extends to ourselves as well, as we accept that personal growth is a gradual process, one that requires kindness and persistence. Acceptance also fosters a sense of trust in ourselves and the world around us. When we stop trying to control every detail, we begin to trust in our ability to handle whatever comes. This trust isn't naive optimism, but a grounded confidence that we are capable of facing challenges. This sense of self-trust creates a stable foundation, reducing anxiety and increasing our resilience. We become less afraid of life's uncertainties, knowing that while we may not control every outcome, we can always choose how we respond. This inner trust brings a peace that endures through life's highs and lows. In embracing acceptance, we also find humility. Recognizing that some things are beyond our control reminds us of our place in the larger scheme of life. This humility isn't about feeling small, but about understanding that we are part of something greater. It allows us to approach life with openness, ready to learn and grow. This humility reduces defensiveness, as we no longer feel the need to prove ourselves. Instead, we focus on contributing to life in meaningful ways, finding purpose in being a part of the whole. This perspective brings peace as we release the need for validation and embrace a simpler, more grounded way of being. Acceptance helps us let go of the fear of failure. Often we avoid taking risks because we fear not achieving the desired outcome. By accepting that not all efforts will succeed, we free ourselves from the need for perfection. This mindset encourages us to try new things, to pursue goals with enthusiasm rather than fear. Acceptance transforms failure from a source of shame into a valuable learning experience, helping us grow and improve. This shift in perspective reduces the stress of striving, allowing us to enjoy the journey without the pressure of flawless results. In accepting what we cannot change, we also find the courage to make peace with our past. Many people carry regrets, wishing they had acted differently or that events had turned out another way. Acceptance allows us to honor the past as it is, recognizing that each experience contributed to who we are today. This acceptance doesn't erase mistakes, but reframes them as steps in our personal journey. By letting go of regrets, we open ourselves to the present, no longer bound by what could have been. This freedom from the past brings a sense of wholeness as we embrace ourselves fully with all our imperfections. Through acceptance, we also cultivate compassion for ourselves and others. Life's challenges affect everyone, and by accepting that difficulties are a natural part of existence, we develop empathy. We become more understanding, both of our own struggles and those of others. This compassion creates a bond of shared humanity, reminding us that we are all navigating the uncertainties of life. This connection fosters a sense of community, reducing the loneliness that often accompanies hardship. By accepting that everyone faces struggles, we find strength in unity, supporting each other with kindness. Acceptance also encourages us to simplify our lives. When we stop resisting reality, we become more content with what we have, reducing the desire for unnecessary possessions or achievements. This simplicity brings clarity, allowing us to focus on what truly matters. We find joy in the essentials, letting go of the constant pursuit of more. This shift reduces stress, as we no longer feel pressured to keep up with external standards. Instead, we live in alignment with our values, creating a life that feels both meaningful and peaceful. Embracing acceptance ultimately leads us to a state of inner freedom. When we stop trying to control every outcome, we release ourselves from the chains of constant striving. We find a sense of peace that isn't dependent on circumstances, a happiness that arises naturally from within. This freedom allows us to live fully, unburdened by the weight of unrealistic expectations or fears. In this space, we discover a joy that endures, a contentment that remains steady in the face of life's changes. This is the gift of acceptance, a path to a peaceful mind and a truly fulfilling life. Stepping into the present moment unlocks a depth of peace and fulfillment that can't be found in the constant replay of past regrets or the anxious anticipation of the future. In the present, there is no expectation, no unresolved grievance, only life as it is, fresh and immediate. The Stoics knew that true contentment lies not in dwelling on what was or what might be, but in fully inhabiting the here and now. This embrace of the present moment is not merely a mental exercise, it's a way of living that brings clarity, joy, and a profound sense of peace. By practicing mindfulness, we open ourselves to life's richness, savoring the simple beauty of each experience without being pulled away by distractions. The journey of living in the present begins with awareness. Often, we drift through the day absorbed in thought, caught in an inner dialogue that keeps us disconnected from our surroundings. To live in the present, we first need to become aware of where our mind goes and gently bring it back to the here and now. Awareness is the foundation of mindfulness, allowing us to notice when we're lost in thought and redirect our focus. This act of returning to the present over and over helps us build the habit of presence, grounding us in the reality of each moment. This grounding in awareness extends to the small details of daily life. When we are mindful, We see each moment with fresh eyes, noticing things we might otherwise overlook. The sensation of warmth from a cup of tea, the sound of rain against the window, or the feel of sunlight on our skin, all these details become vivid. By paying attention to these sensory experiences, we deepen our connection to the present, transforming ordinary moments into sources of joy. This practice cultivates gratitude as we begin to see the simple pleasures that surround us, each one an invitation to be fully alive. Living in the present also requires letting go of the need to control the future. Much of our anxiety stems from trying to anticipate and manage what lies ahead. Yet, the future is inherently uncertain, and by focusing on it, we miss out on the peace available in the present. The Stoics taught that while we can prepare, we cannot predict every outcome, and true peace comes from embracing this uncertainty. By releasing the need for control, we free ourselves from the mental weight of future worries, finding relief in knowing that this moment is enough. The present moment also invites us to release judgments. Often, our experience of now is colored by opinions and preconceived ideas. This is good, that is bad, this should be different. These judgments pull us away from simply experiencing life as it is. By approaching each moment with openness, we allow ourselves to see things without the filter of opinion, letting events unfold without resistance. This non-judgmental awareness brings a sense of lightness as we stop labeling everything and start appreciating life as it naturally occurs. This shift reduces stress as we no longer feel compelled to categorize and control our surroundings. Mindfulness in the present moment also enhances our connection with others. When we're fully present in our interactions, we give our full attention, listening without the distraction of our own thoughts or worries. This focus allows us to truly hear and understand the people around us, fostering empathy and connection. When we engage with others mindfully, our relationships deepen, as each interaction becomes an opportunity to connect on a meaningful level. This presence in conversation brings warmth and authenticity, transforming routine interactions into moments of genuine connection. Practicing mindfulness also helps us manage emotions. Emotions can be powerful, pulling us into the past or the future with memories or worries. By staying present, we observe emotions as they arise without getting lost in them. This awareness allows us to feel emotions fully without letting them take over, creating a sense of calm amidst intense feelings. In the present moment, emotions lose their overwhelming quality, becoming something we can observe with curiosity. This approach brings peace, as we learn to experience emotions without being controlled by them. Living in the present also encourages us to embrace simplicity. Modern life is filled with endless distractions, pulling us in multiple directions. By focusing on one thing at a time, we simplify our experience, reducing stress and increasing satisfaction. Whether it's enjoying a meal without looking at a screen or taking a walk without rushing, single tasking allows us to immerse ourselves fully in each activity. This simplicity creates a sense of space and calm, as we're no longer overwhelmed by juggling multiple things at once. We find that by doing less, we experience more, gaining a deeper appreciation for each moment. Acceptance of the present moment is also a key aspect of mindfulness. Often we resist reality, wishing things were different, and this resistance creates tension. Acceptance doesn't mean we stop working toward goals or improving ourselves. It means we acknowledge reality without fighting it. By accepting what is, we find peace in knowing that this moment is exactly as it's meant to be. This acceptance releases us from the stress of wishing things were otherwise, allowing us to approach life with a sense of ease and openness. This sense of peace becomes a constant companion, unaffected by the ups and downs of daily life. Mindfulness in the present also nurtures patience. By focusing on now, we learn to appreciate the process rather than rushing to the outcome. This patience helps us see value in each step, even if the destination is far off. We become less focused on results and more engaged in the journey, finding joy in each stage of progress. This shift reduces impatience, as we no longer feel pressured to reach the next milestone, but are content with where we are. This contentment creates a steady sense of happiness as we enjoy life's unfolding rather than rushing through it. Engaging fully with the present moment also brings clarity. When we're mindful, our thoughts are less cluttered, allowing us to see situations more clearly. This clarity improves decision-making as we're able to assess things as they are without the distractions of past regrets or future fears. With a clear mind, we make choices that reflect our values and goals, grounded in the reality of the present. This clarity also reduces stress, as we feel more confident in our decisions, knowing they were made with a calm, focused mind. Living in the present encourages us to appreciate the journey of growth. When we're focused on the future, we may feel frustrated by how far we still have to go. But by appreciating each step, we recognize the progress we're making in real time. Each small step becomes meaningful, reinforcing our commitment to growth without the pressure of perfection. This appreciation for the journey brings fulfillment as we see value in each moment, trusting that growth is a gradual process. This perspective creates a sense of satisfaction that isn't dependent on reaching a particular goal, but is sustained by the joy of continuous progress. The practice of mindfulness also nurtures humility. When we are present, we become more aware of life's complexities and our place within them. This awareness fosters humility, as we see that life isn't about controlling everything, but about participating with grace. We learn to accept that we don't have all the answers, that each moment is an opportunity to learn. This humility opens us to life's lessons as we approach each experience with curiosity rather than certainty. This open-mindedness reduces the stress of needing to be right, allowing us to learn and grow with a sense of ease. Living in the present also enhances our sense of wonder. By paying attention, we begin to notice the small miracles that surround us. A flower blooming, a smile from a stranger, the quiet beauty of a sunset. These simple experiences remind us of life's inherent beauty, a beauty that often goes unnoticed when we're focused on the past or future. This sense of wonder enriches our lives, adding a layer of joy that isn't dependent on achievement or success. By appreciating the small wonders of each day, we cultivate a lasting happiness that remains steady regardless of external circumstances. Mindfulness also reduces the tendency toward comparison. When we're present, we're focused on our own experience rather than measuring ourselves against others. This focus frees us from the stress of comparison, allowing us to value our unique journey. By appreciating our own path, we feel a sense of contentment, unshaken by the achievements or opinions of others. This inner peace strengthens our sense of self, as we define our worth by our own values rather than external standards. Living in the present encourages us to release regrets. Regrets often keep us anchored in the past, replaying situations that can no longer be changed. By focusing on now, we shift our energy away from past mistakes, choosing to make the most of each current moment. This shift allows us to move forward, learning from the past without being burdened by it. By letting go of regrets, we create space for joy, finding peace in knowing that each moment is a new beginning. In embracing the present, we also develop self-compassion. When we're mindful, we become more aware of our inner dialogue, recognizing moments of self-criticism. This awareness allows us to replace harsh judgments with kindness, treating ourselves with the same compassion we would offer a friend. This self-compassion reduces inner conflict, fostering a sense of peace that comes from accepting ourselves as we are. By practicing kindness toward ourselves, we cultivate a gentle, steady happiness that grows from within. Through mindfulness, we also strengthen our ability to cope with uncertainty. The future is unknown, and this uncertainty can create anxiety. But when we focus on the present, we become less concerned with predicting what's next and more engaged with what is. This focus on now reduces the fear of the unknown, as we trust that we can handle each moment as it comes. By embracing the present, we develop a calm resilience, finding stability in each step rather than needing to see the whole path. Ultimately, living in the present brings a deep sense of fulfillment. When we fully inhabit each moment, we discover a richness in life that isn't dependent on achieving or acquiring. This fulfillment arises from a simple appreciation for what is, a gratitude that permeates our entire being. By embracing each moment, we create a life filled with peace, joy, and a lasting happiness that endures beyond any single experience. This is the gift of mindfulness, the ability to live fully, finding contentment in each breath, each heartbeat, each step along the journey. At the heart of a truly fulfilling life lies an essential principle: embracing the present moment. The Stoics knew that happiness isn't a distant goal to chase, but a quiet contentment that arises from fully experiencing life as it unfolds. Rather than being distracted by regrets or anxious over what might come, they taught that true happiness comes from immersing oneself in the here and now. In focusing on the present, we open ourselves to a deeper connection with life, an appreciation for each fleeting moment, and a sense of joy that can't be shaken by outside circumstances. This practice of presence invites us to live richly, aware of the beauty and meaning in even the simplest of experiences. In embracing the present, we begin by acknowledging its importance. So much of our time is spent caught up in the mind, reliving past events or projecting into the future. This mental drift can lead to feelings of emptiness or dissatisfaction, as we're not truly engaged with life as it happens. By focusing on the present, we regain a sense of wholeness, grounded in the reality of each moment. This approach transforms how we experience the world, allowing us to be fully alive, fully aware, and open to the beauty of what's in front of us. Presence also brings clarity. When we're focused on now, our thoughts are less cluttered by past grievances or future worries. This clarity sharpens our perception, enabling us to see things as they are without distortion. In this clear state of mind, we respond to life with greater wisdom, as our actions are guided by awareness rather than by old patterns or fears. This clarity deepens our understanding, helping us connect with life in a meaningful way. By practicing presence, we gain a perspective that's rooted in reality, allowing us to navigate life with a steady, peaceful mind. In living mindfully, we also develop an appreciation for the details that often go unnoticed. Life is full of subtle wonders: the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the feel of a gentle breeze. When we're present, these small experiences come alive, filling us with a sense of gratitude and joy. This appreciation adds richness to our lives, as we no longer rush past moments, but savor them fully. In this way, presence isn't about seeking extraordinary experiences, but about seeing the extraordinary in everyday moments. This shift in focus brings a steady sense of happiness, rooted in the here and now. Another benefit of focusing on the present is that it frees us from unnecessary stress. Worrying about what might happen or ruminating over what has already occurred drains our energy. The Stoics taught that the present is the only place where we have influence. By directing our attention to now, we let go of the burdens of past regrets and future fears. This shift in focus lightens our mental load, allowing us to face challenges with calm and resilience. In this state of presence, we feel empowered, as we're no longer distracted by things outside our control. Living in the present also nurtures compassion. When we're fully engaged with now, we're more attuned to the people around us. We listen deeply, free from the distraction of our own thoughts, creating space for empathy. This presence in our interactions brings warmth and understanding, as we're able to connect with others in a genuine way. Compassion arises naturally when we're not lost in our own worries, and our relationships become richer, grounded in kindness and respect. By being present, we offer others the gift of our full attention, strengthening our bonds and enriching our lives. Presence also brings peace in times of difficulty. Life includes moments of pain and hardship, but by focusing on the present, we're better able to cope. Instead of letting our minds spiral into fear or sadness, we stay connected to now, dealing with one moment at a time. This approach reduces feelings of overwhelm as we realize that we only need to handle what's directly in front of us. In this way, presence acts as an anchor, grounding us through life's storms. This grounded approach gives us strength as we face challenges with a calm, steady heart. In focusing on the present, we also find joy in simplicity. Modern life often encourages us to do more, be more, and achieve more, but this constant striving can leave us feeling exhausted. By embracing the present, we simplify our experience, finding happiness in the act of being rather than in endless accomplishments. This simplicity frees us from the need to constantly prove ourselves, creating a space where we can rest and recharge. In this quiet presence, we reconnect with the essence of life, experiencing a contentment that isn't dependent on external success. Mindfulness in the present moment also strengthens our self-awareness. When we're present, we become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and reactions. This awareness allows us to understand ourselves better, recognizing patterns and behaviors that may not serve us. By observing without judgment, we gain insight into our inner world, creating space for growth and positive change. This self-awareness brings clarity to our lives, helping us make choices that align with our values and intentions. With each moment of presence, we deepen our relationship with ourselves, cultivating a sense of inner peace and self-acceptance. Living in the present also enhances our capacity for gratitude. When we're focused on now, we become more aware of the blessings around us. This awareness fosters a natural sense of gratitude, as we see each moment as a gift rather than something to rush through. Gratitude brings a quiet joy as we appreciate life's small treasures. This practice shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, filling us with a lasting sense of happiness that doesn't depend on external conditions. By cultivating gratitude, we find fulfillment in the here and now, grounded in a deep appreciation for life as it is. In focusing on the present, we also free ourselves from the burden of comparison. When we're engaged with our own experience, we're less concerned with measuring ourselves against others. This freedom allows us to value our unique journey, finding joy in our own path rather than being distracted by external expectations. This shift reduces feelings of inadequacy, as we're no longer chasing an ideal, but are content with who we are. This sense of self-acceptance brings peace, as we live true to ourselves, unshaken by comparison. Being present also fosters resilience. When we're focused on now, we're better equipped to face challenges as they come. This resilience arises from a grounded sense of self, as we trust that we can handle each moment. Instead of fearing the future, we approach life with confidence, knowing that we have the strength to adapt. This resilience doesn't mean we're unaffected by hardship, but it does mean we face it with courage and grace. By staying present, we become less reactive, finding solutions rather than becoming overwhelmed by difficulties. Presence also deepens our connection to the natural world. When we're mindful, we notice the beauty of nature, the sound of birds, the colors of a sunset, the rhythm of the ocean. This connection brings a sense of wonder, reminding us of our place within a larger whole. Nature has a calming effect, grounding us in the present and soothing the mind. By spending time in nature, we reconnect with a simpler way of being, free from the noise of modern life. This connection with nature nurtures a deep sense of peace as we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life. In focusing on the present, we also discover a sense of purpose. When we're engaged with each moment, we're able to see what truly matters, directing our energy toward meaningful actions. This sense of purpose isn't about grand achievements, but about living in a way that feels true to our values. By being present, we find fulfillment in small acts of kindness, in the quality of our relationships, and in the integrity of our actions. This purpose brings a quiet joy as we live each day with intention, creating a life that reflects our deepest aspirations. Presence also brings humility. When we're fully engaged with the present, we're reminded of the vastness of life and our place within it. This humility reduces the need for ego, as we see that life isn't about asserting control, but about participating with an open heart. This humble perspective creates space for growth, as we approach each experience as an opportunity to learn. By being present, we let go of the need to prove ourselves, finding peace in simply being. In living mindfully, we also learn to forgive ourselves. Mistakes are a natural part of life, but by focusing on the present, we let go of past missteps, choosing to make the most of each current moment. This practice of self-forgiveness frees us from guilt, allowing us to move forward with a lighter heart. By being present, we recognize that each moment is a new opportunity, a chance to grow and improve. This freedom from the past brings a sense of renewal as we release ourselves from old patterns and embrace the possibilities of now. Focusing on the present also fosters acceptance. When we're engaged with now, we're better able to accept life as it is, rather than resisting it. This acceptance doesn't mean giving up on goals or aspirations. It means finding peace with the reality of each moment. This approach reduces stress as we stop fighting against what cannot be changed, choosing instead to respond with calm. This acceptance creates a stable foundation, allowing us to navigate life's challenges without losing our sense of inner peace. Ultimately, living in the present brings a lasting sense of happiness. When we're fully engaged with each moment, we discover a depth of joy that isn't dependent on conditions or outcomes. This happiness arises from a quiet contentment, a satisfaction that grows from simply being. By embracing the present, we create a life filled with purpose, peace, and a sense of fulfillment that transcends any single experience. This is the gift of presence, a path to true happiness, grounded in the richness of each moment, alive with gratitude and open to the wonder of life. Building on the journey of finding peace in the present, we turn now to the transformative power of perspective. Where the present offers a foundation of calm, perspective shapes how we build on it. By reframing challenges, we unlock a deeper resilience and a source of joy that grows from each experience, no matter how difficult. When we change how we look at obstacles, they become pathways to wisdom and strength, guiding us toward growth rather than holding us back. This shift in perspective is not about avoiding hardship, but about embracing it as an essential part of becoming who we are meant to be. Perspective is rooted in how we choose to interpret the world. Often, difficulties feel overwhelming because we see them as hindrances rather than as parts of a larger journey. By shifting our view, we find that challenges have meaning. They reveal our strengths, teach patience, and offer lessons we would otherwise never learn. This mindset change allows us to find purpose and fulfillment in every situation, even those that seem daunting at first. Instead of feeling burdened, we are empowered, seeing each difficulty as a teacher guiding us toward a greater understanding of ourselves and the world. This approach also fosters patience. Growth does not happen overnight, and challenges are rarely resolved immediately. Viewing obstacles as steps in our journey encourages a calm, patient attitude. We are no longer rushing to reach a destination. Instead, we're willing to engage fully with each part of the process. This patience nurtures peace, helping us appreciate progress without the stress of instant results. Each small step forward becomes meaningful, a reminder that growth is a process worth savoring. With patience, we build endurance and find satisfaction in every phase of our path. Reframing challenges can also cultivate gratitude. Often, hardship reveals strengths, values, and insights we may not have realized otherwise. Gratitude for these lessons shifts our focus from the pain of the challenge to the growth it enables. This gratitude transforms how we experience adversity, allowing us to see even difficult times as valuable. Instead of dwelling on discomfort, we recognize each challenge as an opportunity to expand our understanding and deepen our resilience. This gratitude for growth enriches our lives, making each experience, even painful ones, part of a larger tapestry of meaning. This shift in perspective builds resilience too. When we see challenges as opportunities for growth, we are less likely to feel defeated by them. Rather than viewing setbacks as failures, we approach them with an understanding that they are part of learning. Each difficulty strengthens our inner fortitude, adding to our reservoir of resilience. This resilience creates a steady confidence, reminding us that we can endure and overcome. By viewing challenges as ways to grow, we find ourselves less shaken by setbacks and more prepared to face future trials with courage and grace. By changing our perspective, we also alter how we view failure. Many see failure as an endpoint, a reflection of inadequacy. However, reframing failure as a stepping stone transforms it into a constructive experience. Failure becomes a tool, showing us areas for improvement and helping us refine our approach. This perspective reduces the fear of making mistakes, encouraging us to take risks and pursue our goals without the burden of perfectionism. Embracing failure as a natural part of progress allows us to explore life more fully, knowing that each misstep brings us closer to understanding and growth. This reframing also empowers us. Challenges no longer feel like events happening to us, but become experiences we can learn from and navigate. This sense of empowerment gives us control over our growth as we choose how to respond and adapt. We are no longer passive recipients of life's difficulties, but active participants in our journey. This empowerment provides a sense of purpose as we recognize that each challenge brings us closer to becoming our best selves. This approach gives life depth and richness as we find fulfillment in the active pursuit of wisdom and strength. Viewing challenges as opportunities for growth also nurtures creativity. When faced with obstacles, we're encouraged to think beyond traditional solutions, exploring new approaches and ideas. This creative problem-solving enriches our experience as we adapt and innovate. Creativity arises naturally when we approach difficulties with curiosity rather than fear, allowing us to see possibilities where we once saw limits. This mindset fosters openness, encouraging us to explore and engage with life in fresh, unexpected ways. Through this creativity, challenges become chances to expand our understanding, to find new paths, and to see life with a sense of wonder. Perspective also cultivates humility. When we encounter challenges, we realize that growth often requires us to acknowledge our limitations and seek support. This humility enriches our character as we approach life with openness rather than defensiveness. By accepting that we're learning, we build a grounded sense of self that is flexible and resilient. This humility fosters inner peace, as we no longer feel the need to control or dominate, but can embrace life as a process of discovery and growth. We become more connected with others, more understanding of their journeys, and more compassionate toward ourselves. This shift in view extends to our relationships, fostering empathy. When we see challenges as common aspects of the human experience, we become more understanding of others' struggles. Empathy deepens our connections. As we approach others with kindness and patience, we are less likely to judge and more inclined to offer support, recognizing that each person's journey is unique. This empathy enriches our lives, making relationships stronger and more fulfilling. We find joy in mutual understanding, creating bonds rooted in compassion and shared resilience. A positive perspective also strengthens our discipline. Challenges test our commitment, and by reframing them as growth opportunities, we build a disciplined approach to life. Discipline no longer feels forced. It arises naturally from a desire to learn and improve. This disciplined mindset fosters focus, helping us engage fully with each moment rather than avoiding difficulties. Discipline becomes a source of pride as we see ourselves meeting challenges with resilience and intention. This steady approach creates a sense of fulfillment as we realize that we have the strength to persist and grow. Reframing challenges also brings a sense of freedom. By accepting that difficulties are part of life's rhythm, we release the need to control every detail. This freedom creates a sense of ease, as we're no longer weighed down by unrealistic expectations. We find peace in trusting life's flow, knowing that each challenge has a purpose. This freedom allows us to live with openness, moving through life without the constant burden of resistance. In this state of peace, we embrace each experience with a sense of wonder and curiosity, ready to learn and grow. Perspective also reveals our sense of purpose. Each difficulty clarifies what we value and helps us focus on what truly matters. This clarity brings purpose as we realize that each experience contributes to our growth. By engaging with challenges as part of our journey, we find meaning in each moment. Purpose becomes a steady guide, allowing us to live with intention, knowing that every obstacle we face brings us closer to becoming our best selves. This sense of purpose fills us with fulfillment as we see each day as an opportunity for growth and discovery. Changing our perspective also teaches us the value of letting go. Not all challenges are within our control, and by reframing them, we learn to release what we cannot change. This release is not about giving up, but about focusing on what truly matters. Letting go brings peace as we stop struggling against life and start engaging with it in a meaningful way. This sense of release creates space for growth, allowing us to redirect our energy toward what we can influence. We find that by letting go, we gain a sense of clarity and freedom that enriches our lives. Through perspective, we also develop gratitude for personal growth. Each challenge we overcome becomes a source of pride as we see the resilience we've developed. This gratitude deepens our connection with ourselves, helping us recognize our strengths and appreciate our journey. By focusing on growth, we celebrate each accomplishment, finding joy in the process rather than in some distant endpoint. This gratitude fills our lives with purpose and pride as we honor each step of our journey with appreciation. Perspective also brings acceptance of imperfection. Challenges remind us that growth is not about reaching a flawless state, but about continuously evolving. By accepting our imperfections, we approach life with peace, recognizing that we are always in progress. This acceptance frees us from the need for perfection, allowing us to focus on progress rather than an unreachable ideal. This peace with imperfection strengthens our sense of self as we learn to love who we are at each stage of growth. Ultimately, reframing challenges brings joy to our journey. By seeing difficulties as opportunities, we create a life filled with purpose, resilience, and fulfillment. Each obstacle becomes a chance to deepen our understanding and build our strength. This perspective fosters a lasting happiness, one that grows from within and isn't dependent on external conditions. Through this reframing, we embrace life with courage, openness, and a sense of wonder, finding a joy that endures through all of life's twists and turns. As we deepen our journey into finding joy in the present and transforming obstacles into growth, we now explore a core Stoic insight, changing our perspective on setbacks to build resilience and discover lasting happiness. Where embracing the present helps us stay grounded, shifting our perspective on challenges adds the strength and adaptability we need to flourish. In each setback lies the possibility of resilience and wisdom, teaching us to see adversity as a powerful tool for personal growth rather than as a weight holding us down. This approach transforms hardships into opportunities, bringing us closer to a state of happiness that endures beyond life's shifting circumstances. Embracing setbacks begins with viewing them as part of a purposeful life. Instead of resisting difficulties as unwanted disruptions, we can choose to see them as natural events with lessons to offer. Each obstacle becomes a stepping stone rather than a barrier, encouraging us to find solutions and adapt. This acceptance brings clarity and keeps us calm, helping us act thoughtfully rather than reacting in frustration. By embracing the reality that challenges are inevitable, we free ourselves from the need to control every outcome and instead focus on what we can learn. This shift reduces stress and fosters inner peace as we accept life's unpredictability with an open heart. This process also deepens our capacity for growth. Each challenge presents us with a choice: to remain in familiar patterns or to expand our perspective. By choosing growth, we cultivate resilience, adapting our approach as circumstances require. This flexibility becomes a skill we can call upon time and again, enabling us to face future challenges with confidence and creativity. Rather than getting stuck, we develop a willingness to explore new solutions and perspectives. Over time, this adaptability builds a foundation of resilience that strengthens us, preparing us to meet life's changes with courage and resourcefulness. Changing our perspective on setbacks also invites us to release rigid expectations. Often, our frustration with challenges arises because they disrupt the plans we've envisioned. By letting go of these strict expectations, we open ourselves to unexpected paths. This openness makes room for new insights and possibilities, freeing us from the limitations of needing things to unfold exactly as planned. This shift brings peace as we learn to adapt rather than resist, seeing each moment as a unique opportunity to grow. In this way, life's uncertainties become chances to build patience and acceptance, fostering a state of mind that can find joy in any situation. Resilience also involves appreciating the insights gained from setbacks. Each experience, whether pleasant or difficult, offers feedback that helps us refine our approach to life. By viewing setbacks as lessons rather than failures, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, our strengths, our limitations, and our potential for growth. This self-knowledge builds confidence as we see each challenge as a part of our evolution. Embracing setbacks as moments for learning also cultivates a more compassionate view of ourselves, recognizing that growth is a journey filled with both triumphs and trials. This perspective brings a sense of fulfillment as we appreciate the richness each challenge adds to our lives. In reframing challenges, we also develop humility. Life's difficulties remind us that we don't have all the answers, and that growth often requires us to accept help, seek guidance, and learn from experience. This humility makes us more open to new ideas and perspectives, building a mindset that values learning over ego. With humility, we approach life's challenges not as experts, but as students willing to adapt and grow. This humility brings a quiet strength, as we no longer feel pressured to appear perfect, but can focus on genuine growth. We find that this openness to learning enriches our lives, helping us build a deeper understanding of both ourselves and others. This approach to perspective also brings gratitude, even for difficulties. While it may seem strange, gratitude for challenges arises when we recognize the growth they inspire. Each setback reveals strengths we may not have known we had, helping us build resilience and self-trust. By focusing on the positive changes each difficulty brings, we cultivate a mindset that values growth over comfort. This gratitude doesn't mean we enjoy hardship, but it does mean we see its value in shaping who we are. This outlook fills our lives with purpose, as we recognize that even the difficult moments contribute to our journey. Focusing on what we can control also strengthens resilience. Many challenges feel overwhelming because they involve factors beyond our influence. By focusing on our response rather than the circumstances, we regain a sense of agency. This shift from external to internal control creates stability, as we realize that while we may not change every situation, we can always choose how we respond. This empowered approach brings confidence, as we feel more grounded and less shaken by life's unpredictability. Knowing that our attitude and actions remain in our control builds resilience, helping us face each challenge with a calm and focused mind. In learning from setbacks, we also practice self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on ourselves when things go wrong, but by reframing setbacks as growth opportunities, we allow ourselves the grace to learn. This self-compassion reduces self-criticism, creating a supportive inner environment where growth can flourish. This kindness fosters resilience, giving us the courage to try again without fear of failure. With self-compassion, we see each challenge as part of a larger process, rather than as a final judgment on our worth. This perspective makes it easier to navigate life with ease, embracing each setback as a natural part of growth. Resilience from reframing also reveals a deeper sense of purpose. Every challenge helps us refine our values, clarifying what truly matters. This clarity strengthens our resolve as we see each difficulty as part of a meaningful path. Purpose gives us a reason to persevere, encouraging us to stay committed even when the path is difficult. With each setback, we reinforce our dedication to growth, finding fulfillment in the pursuit of our highest goals. This sense of purpose gives each experience significance, helping us see setbacks not as random events, but as essential parts of our journey. Perspective also builds courage. Setbacks can be intimidating, but by reframing them as opportunities to grow, we develop the courage to face them head-on. This courage doesn't eliminate fear, but allows us to move forward despite it, trusting that each challenge contributes to our development. This bravery becomes a source of pride as we see ourselves meeting difficulties with resilience. By approaching setbacks with courage, we become less fearful of the future, more willing to embrace uncertainty, and more confident in our ability to handle whatever comes. Each setback we overcome also builds inner strength. Challenges reveal our capacity to endure, to adapt, and to find solutions. This inner strength becomes a foundation for resilience as we trust our ability to face life's uncertainties. Rather than fearing difficulty, we see each setback as a chance to grow stronger. This strength brings peace as we feel equipped to handle whatever life brings. This inner confidence adds a steady happiness to our lives, as we're no longer intimidated by challenges, but welcome them as opportunities to become our best selves. This approach also fosters acceptance. Some challenges are beyond our control, and by viewing setbacks as natural parts of life, we develop the ability to accept rather than resist. Acceptance brings peace as we focus on what we can influence rather than fighting what we cannot change. This approach creates a sense of freedom as we release the need for control and instead engage with life as it is. Acceptance helps us build resilience as we channel our energy into growth rather than frustration. By accepting life's unpredictability, we find a deep sense of peace, even in difficult moments. By reframing setbacks, we also discover meaning in adversity. Each difficulty teaches us something valuable, revealing insights that deepen our understanding. By focusing on the meaning within each setback, we transform adversity from a source of pain to a source of wisdom. This perspective brings purpose as we see each experience as part of a larger journey. We find fulfillment in knowing that every struggle, every difficulty, contributes to our growth. This sense of meaning enriches our lives, adding depth and significance to every moment. This shift in perspective nurtures compassion and humility. Life's challenges connect us to the shared human experience, helping us recognize that everyone faces their own struggles. This understanding fosters empathy, enriching our relationships and strengthening our bonds. We become more supportive, recognizing that each person's journey is unique. This compassion deepens our connections, creating a sense of community rooted in shared resilience. Through perspective, we build a life filled with kindness, understanding, and mutual support, helping us grow alongside others. Ultimately, changing our perspective on setbacks transforms how we experience life. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to build resilience, gain wisdom, and deepen our understanding. By choosing growth over resistance, we create a life filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment. This is the power of reframing setbacks, a path that brings lasting happiness by embracing every moment, every experience, as part of our journey to a stronger, wiser self. Through this perspective, we find peace and strength, turning every obstacle into a step toward true happiness and inner resilience. As we delve further, we touch upon one of Stoicism's most powerful teachings, the building of inner resilience. Resilience is not just about enduring, it's about thriving through life's challenges with a sense of peace and strength that comes from within. Through resilience, we find a pathway to lasting happiness that is undisturbed by external events. When we foster resilience, we cultivate a deep inner stability that not only helps us withstand life's storms, but also brings a calm that remains steady regardless of circumstances. This resilience becomes the foundation upon which true happiness can grow, a happiness that isn't easily shaken, but is rooted in inner strength and self-mastery. True resilience begins with the mindset we cultivate in response to challenges. Often, we feel overwhelmed by hardships because we see them as forces beyond our control. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, attitudes, and actions. When we direct our attention to these areas, we empower ourselves, no longer feeling helpless in the face of adversity. This approach transforms our view of challenges, turning them into experiences we can learn from rather than burdens to bear. By strengthening our mental outlook, we develop the foundation of resilience, an ability to face whatever comes with clarity and purpose. Resilience is also nurtured by discipline. While resilience allows us to endure challenges, discipline gives us the structure to grow through them. Discipline isn't about strict routines or harsh self-control. It's about consistent, purposeful actions that build strength over time. Through discipline, we create habits that reinforce our resilience, enabling us to meet each day with a steady mind and a strong heart. This discipline fosters a sense of self-trust as we come to rely on our own inner resources. With each disciplined choice, we add to our resilience, crafting a life that is both stable and adaptable, rooted in a deep sense of purpose. At the heart of resilience lies self-awareness. Stoicism teaches that understanding ourselves, our values, our strengths, our limitations, is essential to building inner strength. Self-awareness allows us to navigate life with a clear sense of who we are and what we stand for, which gives us the courage to face adversity with integrity. When we know ourselves deeply, we are less swayed by external pressures or fears, standing firm in our principles. This self-knowledge is empowering, as it allows us to respond to challenges in ways that align with our true nature. By cultivating self-awareness, we build resilience that isn't superficial, but deeply rooted in our understanding of who we are. Another key aspect of resilience is the ability to adapt. Life's challenges often require us to change course, to think flexibly, and to approach problems from different angles. Adaptability allows us to grow with each experience, adjusting our perspective and our actions as needed. This adaptability strengthens resilience as we become more comfortable with uncertainty, knowing that we can adjust as needed. Through this willingness to adapt, we develop a sense of calm even in the midst of change, trusting in our ability to navigate life's twists and turns. This flexibility brings a sense of freedom as we let go of rigid expectations and embrace life as it unfolds. Stoicism also teaches that resilience is strengthened by a sense of purpose. When we live with intention, every experience becomes meaningful, even those that are difficult. Purpose gives us a reason to endure, a motivation to grow through life's challenges rather than be diminished by them. This purpose need not be grand. It can be as simple as a commitment to live in alignment with our values or to contribute positively to the lives of others. By grounding ourselves in purpose, we create a source of resilience that isn't dependent on external validation. This purpose-centered resilience brings fulfillment, as we see each challenge as a step toward becoming our best selves. In building resilience, we also learn the power of patience. Difficulties often test our endurance, requiring us to wait and persevere even when the outcome is unclear. Patience allows us to face uncertainty with a steady mind, trusting that growth takes time. This patience is not passive, but is an active choice to remain engaged, to continue moving forward even when the path is challenging. Through patience, we cultivate resilience, learning to appreciate the process of growth rather than rushing toward a resolution. This approach brings a quiet strength as we find peace in the journey itself, knowing that each moment of perseverance adds to our resilience. Resilience is also supported by a practice of acceptance. In life, there will always be events beyond our control, circumstances that we cannot change. By embracing acceptance, we release the need to resist or fight against reality, choosing instead to adapt and respond thoughtfully. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing the limits of our control and focusing our energy on what we can influence. This acceptance brings a sense of peace as we stop struggling against life's natural flow and start engaging with it fully. In accepting what we cannot change, we find a deeper resilience, a strength that allows us to move forward without the weight of resistance. This inner resilience is also nurtured by gratitude. Stoicism teaches that every experience, even the difficult ones, has something to offer. By focusing on the lessons gained rather than the discomfort felt, we develop a gratitude that strengthens our resilience. This gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we've learned, filling our lives with a sense of appreciation rather than frustration. Gratitude doesn't deny the pain of challenges, but it transforms how we relate to them, seeing each difficulty as a valuable teacher. This gratitude fosters a resilient mindset as we become less reactive to setbacks and more focused on growth. In building resilience, we also cultivate compassion for ourselves. Challenges often bring out our harshest self-criticisms, but by practicing self-compassion, we allow ourselves the grace to learn and grow. This self-compassion softens our experience of hardship, creating a supportive inner environment where resilience can thrive. Instead of judging ourselves for struggles, we approach each challenge with kindness, recognizing that growth is a process that takes time. This compassionate approach to resilience helps us navigate life with greater ease, understanding that each setback is a part of our journey, not a reflection of our worth. Inner resilience also flourishes through the power of focus. In times of difficulty, it's easy to feel scattered, overwhelmed by the many aspects of a challenge. By focusing on one step at a time, we simplify our approach, making it easier to stay grounded. This focus enables us to engage fully with the present moment, finding clarity amidst uncertainty. By directing our attention to what is immediately in front of us, we build resilience through small, consistent actions. This focus brings peace, as we're no longer overwhelmed by the enormity of a problem, but are empowered to take manageable steps toward a solution. Stoicism also teaches that resilience is fostered by a connection with others. While resilience is often seen as an individual trait, the support of friends, family, and community can strengthen our inner resources. In times of challenge, we find comfort and encouragement in knowing that we're not alone. This connection reminds us that resilience is not about isolating ourselves, but about finding strength through shared experiences. By leaning on others, we build a resilience that is both personal and collective, finding joy in mutual support and encouragement. This connection fosters a sense of belonging, a reminder that we're all in this journey together. Building resilience also involves letting go of perfectionism. Many of us feel pressured to meet every challenge flawlessly, to handle every setback with absolute grace. But true resilience isn't about being perfect. It's about being real, accepting our flaws, and learning through them. By releasing the need to be perfect, we create space for growth, allowing ourselves to move forward without the weight of unrealistic expectations. This freedom from perfectionism builds a resilient mindset, one that embraces each step of the journey without fear of failure. This authentic resilience brings peace, as we no longer feel burdened by the need to prove ourselves. Resilience is also deeply connected to hope. Stoicism teaches that challenges, no matter how difficult, are temporary. By maintaining a sense of hope, we remind ourselves that every hardship will pass and that each challenge brings an opportunity to rebuild and renew. This hope doesn't ignore the difficulty of the moment, but brings a broader perspective, helping us see beyond immediate discomfort. Hope strengthens resilience as we find motivation to persevere, knowing that there is always a path forward. This hope-filled resilience brings light to our lives, helping us move through challenges with a steady, positive outlook. Through resilience, we build a lasting foundation of happiness. This happiness is not dependent on circumstances, but is rooted in the strength we've cultivated through each experience. By embracing life with resilience, we create a sense of fulfillment that remains steady, even amidst change. This resilient happiness isn't fleeting, but is grounded in the confidence that we can face whatever comes with grace and wisdom. Each moment of resilience adds to our inner peace, bringing a joy that is deep, lasting, and undisturbed by life's challenges. In the end, resilience is not merely a reaction to hardship, but a way of engaging with life that brings meaning, purpose, and joy. Through resilience, we find a happiness that endures beyond circumstances, a happiness that is rooted in inner strength and self-trust. This is the gift of resilience, a pathway to lasting peace, a sense of joy that grows with each experience, and an unwavering confidence in our ability to thrive, no matter what life brings. Having explored how resilience forms a foundation for lasting happiness, let's now focus on Stoic practices that help cultivate true happiness within. Stoicism teaches that happiness isn't a fleeting pleasure or something achieved through external success. It's a steady state of fulfillment that arises from within. By practicing simple yet powerful principles, we can cultivate a happiness that's grounded in clarity, calmness, and a deep sense of purpose. These Stoic practices are designed to anchor us to our core values, help us navigate life's challenges with grace, and allow us to experience joy regardless of our circumstances. Through these practices, we're not just finding happiness, we're cultivating a life that resonates with inner peace and wisdom. One of the fundamental practices for finding happiness within is learning to master our thoughts. In Stoic philosophy, how we think shapes how we feel, and ultimately, how we experience life. When we focus on constructive, balanced thinking, we create a positive inner landscape that allows happiness to flourish. This practice involves paying attention to the quality of our thoughts, recognizing patterns that may be unhelpful, and choosing thoughts that align with peace and clarity. By consistently practicing this mental discipline, we create a mindset that naturally gravitates toward contentment. As we gain mastery over our thoughts, we find ourselves less affected by negativity, more resilient, and more attuned to a state of calm happiness. Another powerful practice in Stoicism is embracing gratitude. Gratitude is a cornerstone of inner happiness, as it shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have. By regularly reflecting on the blessings in our lives, we cultivate a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. This perspective helps us recognize that happiness isn't about accumulating more. It's about appreciating the richness of what we already possess. Practicing gratitude grounds us in the present moment, reminding us of the beauty and fullness of life as it is. This practice transforms our experience of life as we learn to find joy in the everyday rather than constantly seeking fulfillment outside ourselves. Living with intention is another essential Stoic practice. Intentional living involves aligning our actions with our values, choosing each moment with purpose rather than acting out of habit or external pressure. This approach brings clarity and focus as we become aware of what truly matters to us. By practicing intentionality, we find happiness not in outcomes, but in the integrity of our actions. This purposeful way of living brings a steady joy, as we realize that each moment of alignment with our values is a moment of fulfillment. With intention, we create a life that resonates deeply with who we are, finding happiness in the authenticity of our choices. Acceptance of what we cannot control is another vital practice in Stoicism. Often, our happiness is compromised by a struggle against reality, an attachment to how things should be. By practicing acceptance, we let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, focusing instead on what we can influence. This acceptance brings peace, as we no longer resist the natural flow of life. It allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally, preserving our happiness even in the face of difficulty. Through acceptance, we find a stable happiness that isn't shaken by circumstances, a happiness rooted in a deep trust in life as it unfolds. Another practice central to Stoic happiness is the cultivation of inner stillness. In a world filled with constant noise and distractions, inner stillness is a sanctuary where we can reconnect with ourselves. This stillness isn't about avoiding life, but about creating a space to reflect, center ourselves, and find clarity. Through moments of quiet, we gain insight into our true needs and values, fostering a happiness that arises from self-knowledge. This practice of stillness also builds resilience, as it helps us manage stress, center our thoughts, and approach challenges with a calm mind. In this state of inner stillness, we discover a profound sense of happiness that isn't dependent on external circumstances, but on a peaceful relationship with ourselves. Practicing humility is another pathway to inner happiness. Humility in Stoic philosophy is not about self-denial, but about recognizing our place in the world and the limits of our knowledge. This perspective frees us from the need for constant validation or recognition, allowing us to find contentment in simply being. Humility opens us to learning, growing, and connecting with others without the barriers of pride or ego. This openness brings a quiet joy, as we experience life without the weight of comparison or competition. By embracing humility, we build a sense of happiness that is gentle yet enduring, rooted in the acceptance of ourselves and others as we are. Stoic happiness is supported by the practice of self-discipline. Discipline in Stoicism isn't about strict control, but about creating habits that serve our highest well-being. By practicing self-discipline, we align our actions with our intentions, fostering a life that is harmonious and fulfilling. This discipline helps us resist impulses that may lead to fleeting pleasure but compromise our long-term happiness. Instead, we cultivate behaviors that support our values, bringing a sense of satisfaction that grows with each mindful choice. Self-discipline nurtures a deep inner happiness as we experience the peace that comes from living in integrity with ourselves. Together, these Stoic practices form a holistic approach to finding happiness within. Each one nurtures a different aspect of our well-being, creating a life that is both joyful and resilient. Through mastery of our thoughts, gratitude, intentionality, acceptance, stillness, humility, and self-discipline, we build a foundation of happiness that isn't easily shaken by external events. This happiness is not a fleeting emotion, but a steady state of fulfillment that arises from within. A happiness grounded in the peace of knowing that we are living a life of purpose, clarity, and alignment with our true selves. In following these practices, we come to understand that true happiness isn't something we chase. It's something we cultivate in the present moment. It's the result of living in harmony with our values, embracing each experience as an opportunity for growth, and finding contentment in the simple joy of being. Through these Stoic principles, we learn that happiness isn't a destination, but a way of living, a way that brings peace, purpose, and joy to each moment. Having explored the practices that cultivate happiness within, we turn to an even deeper aspiration, living a life of fulfillment through Stoic wisdom. Fulfillment is more than fleeting satisfaction. It's a sense of lasting contentment that touches every aspect of our existence. Stoicism offers a path to this profound state of being, showing us how to live in harmony with our values, find purpose in every action, and maintain peace amid life's changes. A fulfilled life, according to Stoic principles, is one that aligns with our highest virtues, brings meaning to our daily actions, and embraces both joy and hardship as essential parts of the journey. Through this exploration, we uncover ways to weave Stoic wisdom into our lives, creating a foundation for true, lasting fulfillment. At the core of living a fulfilled life through Stoic wisdom is the practice of aligning our actions with our values. Stoicism teaches that fulfillment arises not from external achievements, but from the integrity with which we live. When our actions reflect our deepest beliefs, each moment becomes purposeful. This alignment brings clarity and satisfaction, as we know that our life is a reflection of our principles. With every choice rooted in our values, we create a life that feels whole and unified. This consistency provides a quiet joy as we experience the peace of knowing that each step we take honors who we truly are. Living a fulfilled life also involves embracing our role within a larger framework. Stoicism emphasizes that fulfillment is tied to our ability to serve and contribute beyond ourselves. By recognizing that we are part of a broader community, we find purpose in supporting others and contributing positively to the world. This perspective brings a sense of connection as we understand that our actions impact those around us. By choosing to live with kindness, respect, and generosity, we experience a fulfillment that goes beyond personal satisfaction. This outward focus enriches our lives, adding depth and purpose as we find joy in the positive impact we can make. Another Stoic principle that leads to fulfillment is cultivating self-reliance. Stoicism encourages us to depend on our inner strength rather than relying on external circumstances for happiness. Self-reliance builds resilience as we realize that true contentment comes from within. By developing a mindset of self-sufficiency, we become less affected by the ups and downs of life, maintaining a steady sense of peace. This independence nurtures a deep fulfillment, as we understand that our happiness isn't tied to outside forces. Instead, we draw from an internal well of strength and wisdom, finding satisfaction in our ability to navigate life with confidence and self-assurance. Acceptance of life's natural flow is also essential to a fulfilled life. Often, we experience frustration when reality doesn't align with our expectations. Stoicism teaches that fulfillment comes from embracing what we cannot change and focusing on what we can. By accepting life as it is, we release the need for control and open ourselves to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. This acceptance brings peace as we learn to let go of resistance and find harmony with life's rhythm. In this state of acceptance, we experience a fulfillment that is not disrupted by external events, a contentment that remains steady regardless of circumstances. The pursuit of wisdom is another key element in living a fulfilled life through Stoicism. Wisdom, in Stoic philosophy, isn't just knowledge. It's the ability to apply insights meaningfully in daily life. By constantly seeking to learn, grow, and understand, we build a foundation of inner clarity. This pursuit of wisdom enriches our lives, as each new lesson becomes an opportunity for personal development. The more we grow in wisdom, the more we find fulfillment in the depth of our experiences. This fulfillment is not based on achieving perfection, but on the joy of continuous growth, as we strive to become better versions of ourselves with each day. Practicing gratitude is another way Stoic wisdom leads to fulfillment. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is lacking to what is present, reminding us of the abundance already in our lives. By regularly reflecting on what we appreciate, we cultivate a mindset of contentment rather than desire. This perspective helps us find fulfillment in the present moment as we recognize the beauty and richness of life as it is. Practicing gratitude fills our lives with a sense of completeness as we become aware of the blessings surrounding us. This practice grounds us in the present, allowing us to experience each moment fully and without longing for more. Stoicism also teaches that fulfillment comes from embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. Life's difficulties are often seen as obstacles, but Stoic wisdom reframes them as essential parts of our journey. By viewing challenges as teachers, we find purpose even in hardship. This approach fosters resilience as we understand that every difficulty brings a lesson that shapes who we are. Each challenge strengthens our character, builds inner strength, and adds depth to our understanding. This mindset creates a sense of fulfillment as we see our journey as a continuous evolution, one that enriches us regardless of external circumstances. The practice of detachment is another Stoic approach that nurtures fulfillment. Detachment doesn't mean withdrawing from life. It means releasing the need for things to be a certain way. By letting go of attachments to outcomes, we free ourselves from the weight of expectation. This detachment creates space for a deeper sense of peace as we engage with life fully while remaining unaffected by its changing tides. This approach brings a sense of fulfillment that is not reliant on what we gain or lose, but on our ability to remain centered. Detachment allows us to experience life without the need for constant control, finding joy in simply being present. Living with humility is also a vital part of a fulfilled life in Stoicism. Humility is the recognition that we are always learning, that we are part of something greater than ourselves. This perspective fosters openness, allowing us to approach each day with curiosity and a willingness to grow. Humility enriches our relationships as we engage with others from a place of respect rather than pride. This openness to learning and connection brings a quiet fulfillment, as we realize that life's richness lies in our interactions, our insights, and our experiences. By living humbly, we find joy in the simplicity of being and in the knowledge that growth is a lifelong journey. Another Stoic principle essential to fulfillment is the practice of self-discipline. Fulfillment isn't achieved through impulsive actions or fleeting pleasures. It's the result of consistent, intentional choices. Self-discipline allows us to align our actions with our values, creating a life that is coherent and meaningful. Through discipline, we build habits that support our well-being, fostering a sense of accomplishment and integrity. This self-discipline nurtures fulfillment as we see the impact of our actions in the steady peace and purpose we cultivate. Discipline is a source of quiet strength as it enables us to live in a way that resonates with our true self. Stoicism also teaches that a fulfilled life is one that embraces simplicity. In a world that often promotes excess, Stoicism encourages us to find joy in what is essential. By focusing on what truly matters, we create space for meaningful experiences rather than clutter. This simplicity brings clarity, as we are no longer distracted by the pursuit of more, but are content with enough. Through simplicity, we find fulfillment in the richness of each moment, unburdened by the need for constant acquisition. This simplicity fosters a sense of peace, as we realize that true happiness doesn't come from external abundance, but from inner contentment. Living a fulfilled life through Stoic wisdom also involves practicing compassion. Stoicism teaches that fulfillment isn't isolated, it's enriched by our connections with others. By approaching life with empathy, we build relationships rooted in understanding and support. Compassion brings joy as we see the impact of kindness and connection on those around us. This practice reminds us that fulfillment isn't just about personal satisfaction, but about contributing to the well-being of others. In showing compassion, we experience a deeper sense of purpose, knowing that our actions make a positive difference. This outward focus adds depth to our lives, creating a happiness that grows through giving. In embracing Stoic wisdom, we also develop the ability to live in harmony with change. Life is constantly evolving, and fulfillment comes from adapting gracefully to its shifts. By accepting change as natural, we find peace in the impermanent nature of life. This acceptance frees us from the fear of loss, allowing us to appreciate each moment fully. Living with this awareness brings fulfillment, as we experience life as a continuous flow rather than a series of fixed points. This harmony with change adds richness to our lives, as we learn to navigate its cycles with grace and resilience. Ultimately, living a fulfilled life through Stoic wisdom means embracing each moment as an opportunity to grow, connect, and live authentically. Stoicism offers a pathway to fulfillment that isn't dependent on status or possessions, but on the inner qualities we cultivate. By aligning our actions with our values, practicing gratitude, embracing challenges, and showing compassion, we create a life that resonates with true happiness. This fulfillment is steady, grounded in a sense of purpose that endures beyond circumstances. Through Stoic wisdom, we learn that a fulfilled life is one that is lived intentionally, with clarity, and with a deep appreciation for the journey itself. In following these principles, we come to understand that fulfillment is not a distant goal, but a way of being, a choice we make in each moment to live in harmony with ourselves and the world. This fulfillment, rooted in Stoic wisdom, brings a lasting peace that carries us through all of life's changes, a happiness that grows from within and touches every aspect of our existence. As we move from the exploration of a fulfilled life through Stoic wisdom, it becomes clear that a positive and peaceful mindset is foundational to sustaining that fulfillment. This mindset is cultivated through specific habits that align our thoughts and actions with calm, resilience, and clarity. In Stoic philosophy, habits serve as the daily practices that reinforce inner peace and positivity. They are small, intentional actions that shape our lives, grounding us in a sense of well-being that isn't easily shaken by external events. With these Stoic habits, we learn to view the world with openness and balance, finding joy in the present and strength in our inner resources. Each habit contributes to a steady, peaceful mind that becomes the heart of a fulfilling life. One of the most transformative habits in Stoicism is practicing presence. Living fully